Welcome back, everyone, to the 2014 Too Fresh, Too Furious tournament. This is a deciding game to send one of these two teams to the quarterfinals of this tournament between Royal City RollerGirls, Our Ladies of Pain, and La Bouche from Quebec. My name is Professor Rex, and I am joined with Captain Lou.
Yes, I'm back on the air once again with my partner in crime, Professor Rex. We usually coach Royal City together, now on the microphones together.
This is true. This is my third streaming bout, and I'm glad it's happening at a Too Fresh tournament, as it is all is for new skaters, referees, coaches, and announcers.
New everything's really. Entertaining tournament so far. Les Bouches being quite dominant all day. Our Ladies of Pain having a strange path to getting here. They got a bit of a bye in their first game of the day, and then promptly lost to the Divas in actually a fairly close game, and then a last-minute victory over the host Derby debutantes got them the right to play the team from Quebec.
That is correct. That game was very, very exciting. I did catch the last few minutes of that game, and if you weren't a fan of roller derby, that game would make you a fan. It was a very close game and a come-from-behind victory.
And just like that, Rex, I'm out of here. I can't handle announcing with you. I'm going to hand it over to Derby Nerd instead.
I always knew you didn't like my presence, Lou.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks, Captain Lou, for holding the fort. I was over in the bubble, dismantling the boutcast from the bubble.
Oh, really? Us announcers or volunteers involved in roller derby are jacks of all trade, or jacks or Jills of all trade, to be more precise.
But I'm here now and ready for this game, the final of the quarterfinals at the 2014 Fresh and Furious tournament.
That's right, and both teams took very different paths to this game. As Captain Lou mentioned earlier, Our Ladies of Pain had a bye as one of the teams dropped out of the tournament, so they were able to get to the second round to play the Derby debutantes and win a come-from-behind victory. They were in the final jam of that game by losing by 8 points, forced the power jam, scored 10 points, and called off the jam to win the game by 2. Very, very dramatic victory for Our Ladies of Pain. It's possible they can ride that emotion into this game. I think they'll need it. La Bouche is a very, very strong team. They were a very, very strong team last year. They won this tournament last year.
That's right, defending champs. I mean, and kind of in a way you can look at it as two-time champs, because that Smash Squad team that won it 3 years ago also had members from other leagues filling in as well, even though they were going under the Montreal moniker.
That's very true. The Smash Squad team did face Royal City in that tournament 2 years ago. Royal City, in a very, very almost in the same fashion as them getting to this game in 2 years ago, beat the Divas by a single point. Very, very close, disputed game. I know there was a lot of people thinking that possibly the Divas scored a few more points than they did in the end, but the referees' decision in the game is the final decision. And
I even remember,
unfortunately for Royal City, I remember
that jammer. Lexicon hit her hips as she was entering the pack, and it was all just when was that fourth whistle blown?
Absolutely, fourth whistle is everything, and unfortunately, it stands that she did call off the jam too early.
Yep.
And
lesson learned again. That's why we played this tournament.
Absolutely. That's what. This is where the skaters get their experience, and this is where they learn those crucial things about the finer points of this game.
All right, so we are about to get underway here. We were just waiting for the EMTs. They have arrived, and we're going to start on time. Of course, on time is relative. In the 2014 Fresh and Furious tournament, this game was scheduled for 6:20. Hopefully, if you wanted to watch this game, you have found your way here to this new 7:40 start time. Here we go.
I'm assuming all of Quebec is watching this game, anticipating the Lebouche to take the victory home for them.
Oh, nice move from Le Grand Noissois right off the start to get her own space on the outside lane, and she took it. Lead jammer goes to Lebouche.
And Ziggy Stardust pushing her way through that very, very solid defensive wall of Lebouche to get out of the pack.
Oh, Our Ladies of Pain a little unaware of the jammer approaching. She was able to burst pack quickly, and we're seeing Le Grand Noissois again not call it, trusting her blockers to be able to hold that jammer back and give her enough time to get through another pass, and she may have chosen wisely.
That's right. Hopefully the strategy of Royal City of keeping the pack slow will stifle the Lebouche of running the jams, even though they have lead jam, and technically they should call it off. It will keep the points interesting at the very end of the game, at least, if it goes in the favor of Royal City.
Oh, and finally she called it off, maybe a little late on that one. Nope. Not quite. Looked like maybe she had snuck a few in there at the very end. So it's going to be a big pack advantage, though, on the start of this jam. 4-2 for Our Ladies of Pain.
And Royal City, as a league, has been generally known to not take too many penalties, so they have to keep their blockers on the track against this team in order for them to stay within striking distance at the end of the game.
Rapidass is jamming for Lebouche. Haven't seen yet the jammer for Our Ladies of Pain. She's trapped behind a 2-wall right now. And Susan Gonads finally makes her way through, and
that would be Chevy Chase.
Or Pinky Swears. Rapidass coming through, getting the points, making her way through.
And like we predicted, Lebouche is enjoying the lead jam position and enjoying running up the score a little bit. Yeah. That is their strategy. It does work in a 20-minute time frame in roller derby. If you score more points than the opposing team in a short amount of time, you do win the game.
I think if you score more points than the other team,
yes.
No, but it does where that's what they pretty much all they did against earlier in that 150 to 105 win against the Neophytes. They built a 40-point lead early and then just kind of went long, multiple scoring past jams after that and held that lead.
Sweet and salty out there for Royal City, trying to get past that solid defensive wall of Lebouche.
And Le Grand
not
Noissois.
quite strong enough.
A Red Rampage getting a multiplayer block penalty, being sent to the box. Another lead going to Lebouche. They've got a very short jammer rotation. It looks like they're just going with 2. They did that early on in their last game as well before opening up the rotation a bit, just going with Le Grand Noissois and Rapidass. Sweetness Salty is not going to get an opportunity to score as Lebouche call it off. Both of Lebouche's bench bosses made their roller derby debuts, or competitive debuts, here at the Fresh and Furious tournament. Edith Butler-Q and Conas La Barbère.
As well as the 2 coaches for Royal City.
Yeah.
Ali Altruzo and Flying Frenchie.
Oh, nice.
Ali did decide to go with her real name as opposed to a derby name. So on her actual jersey for the charter team, she just goes by Ali.
Becoming more and more common, of course. A lead jammer going to Our Lady of Pain.
Ziggy Stardust, a very promising player for Royal City.
And no surprise that it's Rapidass out there again, and Rapid gets through the pass, picks up 4 points. As Ziggy gets swallowed up a bit. And 1 to beat, she is through, and she also picks up her 4 points and decides to call it off.
Not quite sure why she kept that jam going. She did score a few points and should have called it off before the Lebouche jammer entered the pack, but decided not to. I think she just wanted to put a little bit more points on the board than what they've been scoring, maybe get a little bit of boost for her team. Or she just
wasn't aware
and needs to gain more experience.
Yeah, she was trapped in the very physical pack.
Lebouche starting at the pivot line, a very rarely used position for the blockers on the track.
We don't even have a sponsor for the pivot line anymore.
I know, that was the thing of the past, the pivot line sponsor. Now it's the jammer line sponsor, which is Monster Muffin, if I believe.
Mill Street.
Mill Street is the
jammer line
sponsor of this Too Fresh, Too Furious tournament of 2014.
Camionette now jamming, triple threat for Lebouche. She has a nice pass, a very calm skater. She's looking at Charlie Mean and looking to reel her in. Oh, and then all of a sudden getting offensive. Nice job by Charlie Mean, though, to stay on her feet and not be intimidated. Both jammers picking up points. Camionette able to wiggle her way through that pack, picks up all 5. And gives a little motion to her bench. Camionette, a very confident skater. Nice little outside-in move, but gets knocked to the inside, stays on her feet, stays in bounds, gets up, picks up another 5 points. Charlie Mean having a hard time here at the back of that pack, just getting swallowed up and surrounded by Les Bouches blockers.
It looks like Camionette is content on keeping this jam going for the full 2 minutes. It's a very good strategy by Les Bouches, taking advantage of lead jams and when their jammer is strong and the blocking is in their favor.
Charlie Mean is through. She was on a scoring pass, so that's 4 points on the board for Our Ladies of Pain, but this jam has been devastating for them as Les Bouches are picking up a massive lead. Just 6 minutes in now, they're up by just under 30 points, 27 points, 43-16 is the score. Once again, we are a little bit behind schedule. You are watching the final quarter-final game here at the Fresh and Furious 2014. If you were just tuning in, we've got lots of action coming up. The Final 4 will be coming up right after this. Third place and championship games to come as well.
Number 92, Bella DeBral, getting inserted into the blocking lineup for Our Ladies of Pain. She is actually on loan skater from Rideau Valley. She's in Guelph for the summertime and then is going back to Ottawa to play for the league she started for.
Sweet and Salty is your lead jammer, but she has now been passed by Rapidass. And we will see if she decides to call it. She doesn't. Oh, it takes a big
hit from Gemma, number 55 of the Our Ladies of Pain.
Rapidass gets through and picks up 4. The lead is in Our Ladies of Pain's hands.
I'm not quite sure Sweet and Salty knows she's lead jammer, as Rapidass did get out of the pack first, but did not get lead.
That's right.
Sometimes it's a very confusing thing for newer skaters.
Her bench was briefly there telling her to call it off, but now they're going to tell her to keep going as they notice the Les Bouches jammer is still wrapped up in the pack. Rapidass having a hard time on this pass, so this might even things up on this jam for Our Ladies of Pain. Nice recovery.
Nice job. Scream Queen keeping the jammer in the pack for Our Ladies of Pain, making sure her jammer can get a few more points on the board.
So Sweet and Salty gets the points on that pass. Smart move by Our Ladies of Pain to keep that jam going long enough to even things up.
Les Bouches 54, Our Ladies of Pain 24.
So they did gain 3 points on that jam when all is said and done.
Again, Les Bouches starting at the pivot line. Brought to you by Roller Derby.
This pivot line brought to you by the former sport of roller derby. Roller derby's
Stardust hitting that defensive wall very, very hard, trying to force her way through and is successful in doing so. The jammer from Les Bouches gets cycled at Camionette to the back of the pack, still stuck in the pack. Nice job by Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy's already back in the pack and scoring now, 2 to beat. He pinballs off those 2 blockers, gets through, picks up 4, takes a look, calls it off. As Camionette unable to get back around and score.
I think Our Ladies of Pain are going to need to do a little bit more than nickel and dime their way back in this game.
Yep.
Les Bouches will run away with the score every time they get lead jam. They need to be taken advantage of when they have the opportunity to do so.
Once again, roller derby's past rearing its head as Les Bouches, look, they can't even find the pivot line. They're so confused about what they're doing up there. Rapidass having to point it out.
I wonder if the pivot puts her toe on the pivot line and stretches her hip baskets, if the rest of the blockers know what to do with that.
I do. No one would know what was happening if somebody did that. Forum being called on the Our Ladies of Pain pivot heading to the penalty box. That will give them
and little brawler jamming for Our Ladies of Pain. I believe that's the first jam she's done the entire tournament for Our Ladies of Pain.
First I've seen. And speaking of expanding jammer rotations, we have Badelaine out there jamming for Les Bouches as well. Her first of this game.
And
nice.
Little brawler takes the inside line, picks up 4 points on the opposing team.
Badelaine jamming. She also picking up points and calling it off as it gets called off. Badelaine did jam earlier for Les Bouches. It's her first time at the start of this game.
I think LaBouche are keeping Our Ladies of Pain too close for comfort. Our Ladies of Pain did come back in the last game they had, and I think LaBouche should be careful against the Our Ladies of Pain. They do have some surprises in their playbook.
And now it's Our Ladies of Pain's turn to move up to the pivot line. Camionette now wearing the pivot stripe. She is dictating things. Another new jammer on the line for Les Bouches. It's Sweet and Salty jamming once again for Our Ladies of Pain. Lead jammer does go to Les Bouches. Her first jam of the night. Here she comes on another pass. And that's number 314. Candela Amak is the lead jammer.
I'm glad you found that name first. I'm not the greatest at the French names with accents. It is. I don't want to mess those names up.
I just pretend I know what I'm saying and hope that it comes out properly.
And I believe the LaBouche jammer did take a penalty.
Yes.
It was a low block penalty. She is in the penalty box. Sweet and Salty now on the track for the Our Ladies of Pain. Able to score some points, is not lead jam, cannot call it off. This jam will go a full 2 points, and she entered the track in front of the rearmost blocker of LaBouche.
Nice job by Camionette to jump back there and make sure she was behind her when she re-entered.
Absolutely, and a lot of times jammers do think that moving backwards is enough. You have to still come in the track behind the hips of the opposing blocker, not just slightly behind. It has to be actually behind. You can't skate on.
And it is, because logically you would think, well, I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm not taking advantage, but the rules state.
Absolutely.
It's the only non-impact penalty in the game where you can actually, the cutting penalty, you can get a cutting penalty that has absolutely no impact on the game, as we just saw. Well, actually, that did. She came in ahead of her, but we've seen skaters skate backwards and just lift that foot on the outside as they're being recycled. Sweet and Salty is through and picking up points once again, so lots of points being put on the board. But it hasn't really changed the point differential in the last about 5 minutes or so.
No, LaBouche have a strong foothold in this game, and Our Ladies of Pain really have to start putting up lead jams and scoring many more points than they are right now if they're going to contend with this team.
76-37. Les Bouches have shown that they know how to run a clock, play the game.
Ziggy Stardust for Our Ladies of Pain jamming probably has the most experience for this team, that being 2 games.
And Le Grand Noisseur, also a slightly experienced jammer. She just played in this year's Clam Slam here at Ted Reeve Arena just a month ago. That was a big experience for her, probably the highest level game she'd ever played in.
The Clam Slam is a great tournament for any players in Ontario or anywhere close
North
to
America.
Yeah, North America, absolutely.
Ziggy, being sent to the penalty box with a forearm penalty. This is going to be a power jam for Les Bouches, exactly what Our Ladies of Pain did not want to happen as they were trying to get back in it.
For the most part, Our Ladies of Pain did stay out of the penalty box, but I think LaBouche is going to really start to pull away. They are already ahead by a significant margin, and this is when the wheels might fall off for Our Ladies of Pain.
Le Grand Noisseur now working with one offensive blocker at the front. Works her way through on the outside, picks up another 5 points. Rapidas, though, the pivot for Les Bouches heading to the penalty box. Grand Noisseur comes around on the outside, a nice sweep from Camionette. Oh, and then Camionette gives a big hit. And another one, chest to chest, but Ziggy Stardust very quickly back up, shrugging those hits off and getting bast.
It was a very nice offensive block from Camionette on the last pass. Offensive blocking on power jams is becoming the way of the future in roller derby.
Yeah, Camionette, her instincts for the game are phenomenal. Where does she skate out of? She skates out of Montreal, not surprisingly. One of just 3 skaters, though, from Montreal roller derby on this Les Bouches team. A lot of them coming from Rimouski, a few from Cornwall, and Trois-Rivières as well.
Absolutely. Montreal is one of the premier leagues in Canada. And if skaters coming out of that league tend to come out with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge and a lot of strength. Royal City actually had a skater move to Montreal. Hot Cross Guns now plays for their charter team.
And Badelaine is lead jammer for Les Bouches. Oh, and little Betty Brawler picking up a cut on the outside. Her foot just snuck out of the out-of-bounds line. And that's going to give another power jam here for Les Bouches, who have hit the century mark. They've hit the century mark in every game they've played so far.
Absolutely. Little tidbit of information, AAA8 for Royal City. Happy Days has actually been involved in Royal City for 3 years, trying to pass minimums. Finally did this year, got enough skill, and she's actually a very, very solid blocker out there for the team right now.
Yeah.
3 years later, finally passing.
It's amazing.
Or passing minimums.
Persistence, sticking with it.
It's very, very rare in this sport sometimes. If people don't pass their minimum skills initially, they seem to think that they never will, and Happy Days will tell you otherwise.
Right, a model for those who have troubles. First time through, stick with it. You'll get through it. Maybe the fact that she has My Little Pony unicorns on her shorts helped her get that extra step.
Absolutely. Unicorns help every way. Gemma with a vicious direction of gameplay penalty.
Did slow up Badelaine for a moment.
Lumberjack Sally, sorry I keep calling her Gemma. I do coach this league, so I know these ladies by their first names.
A real name. Sneaking into the boatcast. Badelaine on another pass now. 114-43 is the score. She's going to let this go as little Betty Brawler comes around on a scoring pass as well. Gets knocked to the inside by Ultrasonic. Ultrasonic's going to be sent off, though.
On a track cut penalty.
Gonads with a big hit as well. Such a good name, Gonads, but really not much thought. But I can't believe that no one had thought of that already.
Why? There's a lot of good names in this tournament,
yes.
Nerd. Every year I see some names that make me chuckle.
It's amazing that the skaters keep coming up with these names after all these years. All right, looks like we have a timeout called now by Our Ladies of Pain, trying to keep things under control as this game is getting away from them. 3 minutes to go. It's 118-47.
A good timeout by the bench staff of the Our Ladies of Pain. I think they should have called it a little bit earlier, but it's still a good timeout. Get their team back in the mental state that they need to be. They do have I thought they had a pack advantage, but actually they'll be down 2 blockers to 3 to Les Bouches.
Senor Wiener, the head ref for this crew, heading to the bench to talk to them.
If you don't know, Senor Wiener is a referee out of... Actually, is he coach in Queen City?
No,
or is he
refereeing out of Queen City.
Referee out of Queen City, and he also plays for Toronto Men's Roller Derby out of Toronto Roller Derby.
Oh, I believe maybe we have a foul out. Maybe that's... I was wondering if that's why he was going to the bench. And yes, indeed, that looks like it is the case.
And it's the Scream Queen. Scream Queen is a very good blogger for Our Ladies of Pain. She will be missed on the track.
And so will that pivot panty that she wore to the dressing room.
Absolutely, and it will frustrate the bench staff because they will be saying, "Where is that pivot panty? Why do we not have one on the track right now?"
Well, at least they have an extra one because they have one in the penalty box. But
this is true.
So another foul out. Again, 4 penalties in these 20-minute games will cause you to foul out of the game.
That is not very many penalties to be fouled out for, but if it's only a 20-minute time span, you should not be in the 4-point penalty range. At most, over 20 minutes.
Although we do see it, and we saw a record number at this year's Beast of the East for foul-outs as well.
Absolutely, and there's been a few foul-outs in this tournament. I saw one in the last game I was announcing for. Yeah. And I did hear that there was an expulsion in one of the games earlier today.
Oh, that was not a game I called.
I overheard that through some of the referees, or the head referee of the entire tournament, Jules and Regulations, out of Tri-City Roller Derby.
Did you hear anything about why a skater was expelled?
No, I didn't. I just heard it was an expulsion. It didn't deem her to not skate for the rest of the tournament, so it wasn't that severe. It was probably just a contact penalty that was a little bit too overzealous.
We are having a medical timeout right now for one of the NSOs. Is under some distress right now, so we're just going to take a little pause as the EMTs deal with her. I've had a lot of problems. It's I know you probably can't tell this from home. It is incredibly hot in this venue right now.
It is, and thankfully it's 8 o'clock at night, and it's starting to cool off outside, which is helping the temperature in the Ted Reeve Arena. I know the bubble was a little bit warmer, but it is very warm. And if you do need to have lots of air, I'm sure it's a respiratory thing,
Yes.
just because of the heat involved and how you have to be on your feet all day and traveling from venue to venue. I know that sounds weird being back at home, but there are 2 arenas here. They are across the street, but if you're doing volunteer work in a tournament like this, you are generally running back and forth between games, as they usually have you scheduled for multiple things over the course of the day.
Yep, and it was 30-plus degrees outside today, with the humidity probably pushing 40, so it wasn't even any respite to get outside of these buildings. So this is our 3rd lengthy medical timeout of this day.
Absolutely, and just wanted to touch on some of the referees in this tournament. Joe the Locksmith, I know he coaches up north, or referees up north for the South Simcoe area, and recently actually joined the Untouchables and the Royal City RollerGirls ref crew.
Nice, and he does. I've seen him ref around GTA as well for the Durham region. He's ref there as well.
I also know this Goldie Lockenload, a very long-time skater in roller derby. He's played for Toronto roller derby at one point for the Betties, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, played for the Smoke City Betties for the 2008-2009 season, and then helped found the West End Wayward Roller Derby Association and the Roller Jets.
And she also owns a roller derby shop here in the GTA area,
which she will be closing, though, sadly, shortly.
That's unfortunate.
If she announced.
If you need any gear, please go and see Goldie Lockenload.
She'll be keeping her blog going. But we will not have a bricks and mortar roller derby shop in Toronto very shortly, which seems very strange since we've had 2 for so long.
Yeah, that does seem strange, as Tord is a very, very prominent league in Ontario and Canada, for that matter.
But I think as we're seeing, Montreal also losing their brick and mortar shop. So as we're seeing, is that sort of first explosive exponential wave of roller derby kind of slows down. These shops like Neon Skates in Montreal is closing its Montreal doors, but they still have a shop in Ottawa, and they're still a fully functioning store online. So the business is not that slow, but it just didn't seem right for them to have 2 stores anymore, so they decided just to merge to 1.
Absolutely. I think Sister Disaster, a team member of Team Ontario, and Rideau Valley Vixens is one of the shop owners of the...
Well, she runs the Ottawa store. Georgia W. Tush is the owner, operator of the whole organization, but Sister Disaster runs the Ottawa location.
And as this tournament has a lot of officials that are newer to the sport of roller derby, I don't know many. I recognize Tsunami Warning. I'm not quite sure what area she refs out of. But
yeah, she's always around. I don't know either exactly. We've seen her again here. Seen her ref for GTA RollerGirls. Oh, getting back to Goldie Lockenload, though, I wouldn't be surprised if she had another big announcement that she, maybe I'm not at liberty to make right now for her, but you might see her in some familiar colors soon.
Colors?
Yeah. I think she's been having a hunger for more competitive roller derby, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her maybe join one of Toronto's larger leagues.
That does happen in roller derby. Players do transfer leagues from time to time. Some players transfer to more competitive leagues. Other players transfer to less competitive leagues.
And it definitely happens here, especially in Toronto all the time, where we have 4 senior women's leagues, all offering different kind of levels of competitiveness and and commitment and travel, etc. There really is derby for everyone in this city.
Absolutely. As well in Guelph's area, I'm not at liberty to say either, but I do think you'll see some skaters at a top level playing for different colors next year in the Waterloo, Guelph, Wellington region. It is a very, very populated region as well. The Waterloo region has about 600,000 plus population. The Wellington region has close to the same, about 450 in that range. That's quite a number of people. I know it doesn't sound like a lot if you live in Toronto at the 5 million range, but
yeah,
when you amalgamate all those small towns in an area, it's quite a lot of people to draw from.
The Our Ladies of Pain bench losing their skaters as they get distracted and go over. They just had to corral a couple skaters who'd gone into the crowd during this extended medical timeout.
Well, they just wanted to talk to their friends.
Yeah, saying hi. Not a bad crowd here milling about Ted Reeve Arena down in the suicide seats.
I am glad, though, that the medical personnel at this tournament are taking every injury or slight problem seriously and making sure that the skaters, volunteers, or personnel involved in this tournament are safe.
There also is a skater from Les Bouches being tended to. Nothing doesn't seem to be anything serious. You'd already been sitting in the EMT area.
I can't quite see what her number is from here. My eyes aren't that good.
Nor are mine. Just based on what she looks like, I want to say it's Badlen. And I hope I'm right. No, I'm willing to say that it is. But again, I can't see her number. I'm just by recognizing her. And that's Badlen, who skates out of Rimouski Roller Derby. Newer league. This is at least the second year in a row that Rimouski has been operating, though, as a roller derby league.
I think a lot of the Ontario teams are going to be surprised with a lot of the Quebec leagues starting up. Rimouski is going to be a very, very strong league. I'm sure they will be pushing for WIFTA status, I would assume, at some point over the next couple of years. Once that happens, it'll add to the very, very fine charter team teams in Canada.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Quebec Roller Derby, we haven't seen them take that route yet, because Quebec Roller Derby and a phenomenal house league system, and that has developed into a great travel team too, Les Duchesses.
I think most leagues, from what I'm involved in a league that is just in the WIFTA apprenticeship program right now. I think most leagues do wait about 3 years before they make that decision, and I think RDQ is in their third year right now, so they'll be probably talking about it at their board level, and I would assume, I hope I'm not overstepping what I know about Derby, but they do have a charter team that could compete at a pretty high level in the WIFTA rankings right now, actually.
For sure, yeah. They are phenomenal. Of course, they've had nice runs at Montreal's Beast of the East tournament, which is a house league tournament for teams from Quebec and Ontario. The top house league teams in Quebec and Ontario, and they have done well. So, looks like we've actually bringing in a new scoreboard operator. Everything is okay, though. The previous scoreboard, now I think we can tell you, since she is up now, and she did have a bit of an asthma attack.
Yeah, she is on air. She's getting some extra oxygen in her blood, so
she got up on her own 2 feet and walked over to the EMT station, so she is going to be okay. Just making sure that everything is all right. And we are back underway here now. 3 minutes to go in this quarterfinal game of the 2014 Fresh and Furious tournament.
The jam did start there, and both jammers kind of looked at each other as if they didn't know what was going on. But
number 80, Mazo Curie. So maybe that is Badlen. She was their sort of third jammer. So Mazo Curie now getting an opportunity with the star.
And number 78 for La Bouche, soul-crushing, sweet and salty to the back of the pack. Oh. She was almost out of the pack and not quite. Last jammer to get past, knocked out of bounds on the outside.
Le Grand Noisseur, the big darkness, with a soul suck on that one. Her name is appropriate there.
That's a very, 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 very good name. I enjoy the sport of roller derby.
Sweet and Salty is through. Oh, and I was going to say, I thought Bouche were going to let this one go too, but Mazo Curie does call it off. We will reset with 2:12 to go. Substantial lead for Les Bouches.
Yeah, at this point, earlier than this point, I think the lead was insurmountable. 2 minutes, you were not going to score that many points. Although earlier in the tournament, we did see a 40-point jam be put up on the board. That is very, very impressive, especially considering that penalties now are 30 seconds for the jammers. And La Bouche calling a timeout. I don't know if this was a timeout on behalf of what's going on in the penalty box area with their team. There's security going over in that direction as well.
Lots going on. This has been a day of timeouts and injury timeouts and all sorts of distractions.
But it's not a too fresh tournament unless a strange thing happened.
True. Although the last 2 years the tournament's actually run on time and finished on time. This year we will not.
No, we won't. But thankfully, GTAR does have the arena until 11 o'clock, so we have time to fit all these games in. So if you are watching at home and you're hoping to see your team play, they will be playing. They'll just be pushed to a later time slot. Mm-hmm. Everything, if you are looking at a bracket, everything is just being pushed back. So if you take the time that it is right now and you just add that time to the game that you want to watch, that's when it's going to be on the live stream.
And now this is we're not in that dire situation yet, but there has been talk that because we do have to be out of the venue at a certain hour, if any game needs to be cut, it will be the third place game. We've been told that will be cut. Obviously, you cannot cut the semifinals or the championship game. Oh wow, another stretcher is being brought in.
Yeah, I don't believe. I think the the NSO that needed some extra oxygen needs to be escorted out of the arena.
So that's why we paused the game.
Good on the bench staff of Labouche for noticing that and signaling to the refs that they needed to call a timeout to ensure that their EMS had enough track space to get this NSO off the track. I wish I knew her name so I can let people know and let everyone know at home that she is okay. She just needs a bit more air.
Although if anyone's watching at home, we apologize again for that. We haven't even really been able to get a clear visual of who she is yet. So, but again, she's okay. She is alert, sitting up, has also stood up on her own. So, but again, for precautionary reasons, it looks like they're going to want to remove her and get her to a place where they can more appropriately look at her and assess her situation. 8:10 is the time if you are following. This is game number 24 of the scheduled 28 games. Coming up, we still have the semifinals and the two finals. One semifinal is already set. No surprise, I don't think, that Toronto's Divas have made it, but perhaps a little bit of a surprise that the Capital City Derby Dolls, Cannon Dolls, have found their way into the Final Four.
That might have been a surprise for a lot of people, but I saw them play early in this tournament. It was their first game of the tournament, and they just looked very, very together. The strategy that they were employing was on time, at the right moments. They were able to keep the pack together. They weren't destroying the pack for inappropriate reasons. Their power jam offense was on point. Their ability to stop points being put up when they were on a penalty kill was very impressive as well. It would be surprising if that team doesn't push to win this tournament.
I mean, they did as soon as they started that first game. They set a real. They kind of just turned all eyes on them. They scored 118 points. They were the first team to pass the century mark today. It was a 118-33 win over Belleville. So they did kind of catch everyone's attention very early on, and they've just kept that run going. Knocked off the Fox Force 5, who themselves look like a strong team, 63-38 to book their place in the quarterfinals, and then they promptly destroyed the Thickets, 59-15. Probably the most impressive defensive performance we've seen tonight.
That's right, and the Thickets with their jammer Loki, who jams a significant amount of jams for Forest City this tournament. They were able to stop her, and most of the teams that the Thickets played weren't able to hold her up. She had a very, very high lead jam percentage until she met the Cannon Dolls.
And the Thickets probably had the roughest ride of all of these injury timeouts, because they had to do back-to-back games at one point because of the timing, and then had only one game off before they had to play that third game. So it just might have been that they ran out of steam.
Absolutely.
At that point.
If you do end up watching that game for the Divas, players of note, Vag Lightning was very impressive in the games that I saw. She was jamming quite a bit for the Divas and blocking as well. She seems to be double threat. I didn't see her pivoting, so I don't know if she's a triple threat.
She was pivoting the last game, for sure. The quarterfinal game, she did pivot quite a bit against Ganaraska. She didn't jam that game once.
Holly Rocket as well for the Divas is a very aware jammer and knows very nice track awareness, knows where to be, knows when to call it off.
Watch out for Fight of the Concords. She is our first Toronto Junior Roller Derby graduate, and also just real nice awareness.
That's what I hear, and it's great to see that there's junior roller derby skaters coming up through the ranks and playing now for the adult leagues in their leagues. Toward one of the first leagues to have a junior roller derby team, and it's going to be paying in dividends in years to come. I know that.
Yep.
For the Cannon Dolls, I did see a lot of their games. Labros, number 19, is a very, very solid jammer. Look out for her. Kamikaze, triple threat, number 69. Very, very well, very solid jammer, very solid blocker. Edmonton, number 780, did the majority of the pivoting for that team. If she's on the track, the Divas need to look out.
I haven't actually seen the Cannondalls play yet, so this is good for me, too.
Very, very solid team. And I didn't see her play much, but the name is great. TBD, totally badly indetermined in brackets after TBD. It's kind of great.
Yeah, it is amazing, and it's too bad in some ways that we seem to be moving away from Derby names more and more. Although when you come to this Fresh Meat tournament, you realize just how much the skaters actually love Derby names. No one comes into Derby saying they don't want a Derby name. Sometimes they'll get rid of them, but no one comes in being like, I don't want one of those.
I know firsthand I got in shit for house. Excuse my language. I got in trouble earlier for house announcing and going through the lineup and not having enough gusto in my voice for the team. One of the skaters came over and said, "You need to put more pizzazz on these names because it's very, very important."
They are impressive names.
And I did agree, but unfortunately, I don't have the pizzazz in my voice that some announcers do. So
it's not every day you get to announce gonads around turn number 1.
That is very, very true.
And yes, so that is the first semifinal game, which would be very exciting. And the South Simcoe Roller Rebels are waiting the winners, who looks like will be Les Bouches. This is also a big tournament for South Simcoe. They've been playing here for a few years now. This is the furthest that they have ever advanced. And we are, the NSO now is being removed from Ted Reeve Arena.
That's very, very good news. She still looks aware. She doesn't have the oxygen on her anymore. It just looks like she needs to be assessed.
Yep.
And the EMS have to make sure that they're doing everything properly and making sure that the NSO is in good health.
All right, we are now ready to complete this final quarterfinal game. Again, Les Bouches looking to finish off Our Ladies of Pain and work their way into another fresh and furious final. They will have the back line. It's going to be 5-on-5. Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust doing the majority of the jamming for Our Ladies of Pain today. She looks like she's feeling the burn. She's trying her best.
No jammer being fielded by Les Bouches. I just realized. I don't know if they meant to do that. They forgot to start. It seems like they're all just going. They're going all defense. Interesting. No pass, no penalty. As Camionette tried to draw up.
The blocker from Les Bouches skated all the way back and skated out of bounds in the infield, as she was unaware of where she was. Also, there's too many blockers on the track for Les Bouches, as they did not field.
She had the jammer penalty in her hand.
A jammer. They're trying to pull some kind of fast one, but I do believe that you need to have the jammer cap on your head.
Yeah.
You cannot go out there and start in the jammer position and expect to stay on the track.
Yeah, and not only that, she was, I mean, again, that's the experience you learn, right? Camionette was trying to drag her back, and she dragged her back too far, put herself out of the engagement zone, so she was no longer a cuttable skater, and then skated out of bounds as she was trying to rejoin the pack.
If it's possible that she did pick up two penalties for both infractions. I'm not sure if both were assessed. Ziggy Stardust
finally
fighting her way through, doing her best. She has jammed a lot for this Our Ladies of Pain, as you can tell, skating slowly, trying to catch her breath, trying to get some points put on the board for the Our Ladies of Pain.
Camionette is still back on the track and still not putting on that jammer penny, so they're going to go jammerless. Interesting choice.
I don't believe they can, because she started as a jammer behind the jammer line, so even though she has it in her hand, she cannot be fielded as a jammer. She should be sent to the box currently, as she's skating out of bounds, or out of position.
Yes. And has not put on that jammer penalty. Panty.
Very, very strange. If I was the
I don't
bench,
even know what to say. I haven't seen this.
I haven't seen that either. The time is out of the game. I don't know if we'll ever actually understand what happened at the end there. But I do know that you can't field 5 blockers.
They did field her behind the jam line.
With the jammer cap in her hand.
In her hand.
So therefore she's not the jammer, and she can't start behind the jammer line, so she should get a penalty. but she should have been instantly sent back to the box as she was chasing a jammer. She'd be out of play.
Interesting.
Very, very strange turn of events here at the end of the game. But Labouche, an unofficial final of 127 for Labouche, 61 for the Our Ladies of Pain.
We're just going to wait for that to be official. Strange, anticlimactic end to that game, but nonetheless, Labouche had such a lead that they could have pretty much done whatever they wanted in that last jam and not worried too much. Again, point differential means nothing, and there it is. It is an official final, 127 to 61 is the official final score. Labouche advanced to the Final Four. Once again, Our Ladies of Pain, a strong tournament, Final 8 showing, quarterfinals, but their tournament is done this year.
Absolutely. Strong showing from Our Ladies of Pain. I think Labouche are going to be in this, well, they are in the semifinals, are they not? Yes.
Final Four.
Final Four. It wouldn't surprise me if Labouche will be in the final of this tournament again for a second year in a row. Technically a third, as the nerd pointed out earlier.
Interesting final, two powerhouse leagues, Divas and the Bush in there against two smaller leagues who are turning some heads this weekend, the Cannondalls especially, and then South Simcoe Roller Rebels. They are going to be in tough against that Bush team, but that should be a good one.
Absolutely. I am Professor Rex.
And I am the Derby Nerd. And somebody will be back to call the next game shortly. We wish we could give you a time. Just stay tuned, how about?
Yeah.
Semifinals coming up next.
It should be good. If any of these games, should tell you, if you watch any of the games in this tournament, anything can happen in this Two Fresh tournament. So stay tuned. Both semifinals will be great.
Thank you for tuning in to the 2014 Fresh and Furious here at Leonine.ca. Still 6 games to go.
Good evening, everyone at home. My name is Professor Rex, and I am back on the stream for this 2014 Too Fresh, Too Furious tournament.
And this is Obi Sirius, and I'm back as well.
This game is between two very strong teams. The Divas out of Toronto Roller Derby, the Cannondalls out of Capital City, Ottawa Roller Derby, or Ottawa as well, sorry. The capital of Canada versus what most people think is the capital of Canada, even though they're...
I thought the capital of Canada was C. The letter C?
That would be also correct. The capital of Canada is also C.
Can you tell I have an 8-year-old daughter at home?
I loved every minute of it. I'm expecting this game to be a very, very close match. Both these teams looked solid in all their previous games.
Absolutely. Both their offense and defense, whether it's, blockers doing both, jammers pushing their way through, have been phenomenal for all the games that I've seen today.
The referees just making their final checks on the equipment. I'm sure they're trying to get these games underway as quick as possible. We have had a few delays with some injuries and an NSO falling ill and needing attention. But Derby always prevails, and we seem to get this done always in time.
It's always safety first, and all our delays today have been medical in nature. And as far as if we're going to have a delay for a valid reason, that's the reason. Making sure that they get the proper medical care.
I have seen a few games from these two teams, and both of them have a very solid jammer rotation. Both of them also have very solid defensive walls. Epic Phil just passed me by and gave me a bit of a back massage. I appreciate that, Epic Phil.
That was a very, very sweet thing for him to do.
It is. These chairs in the Ted Reeves are much more comfortable than they were in the bubble. And that was the official whistle to start this game. Just waiting for the 5 seconds from the jam timer to get the first jam underway.
Looks like the Vanguard taking the honors for the Divas starting the first jam.
Vanguard did do a lot of jamming for the Divas in all of the previous games. Let's see if she keeps that up. Getting knocked to the outside, out of bounds. I think she was okay to come in front, but is recycling herself back just to be safe.
Kaio Kenzie for the Cannondalls finds her way out first. Oh, but not first. She actually is getting around faster than Vanguard, but Vanguard, even though she's got lead jammer status, stuck in the pack now.
I believe Vanguard did get lead jam just before getting knocked out of bounds. She was in front of her hips. The block happened.
Total steal there by Kaio Kenzie of the Cannondalls. Didn't have lead jammer, still put 4 points on the board to the Divas, nothing.
Absolutely. I don't think Vanguard knew. I think she thought she was in lead and was just trying to put some points on her board for her team, forgetting to call off the jam. Steve Mahood, coach of the Divas, explaining to Vanguard what had happened in the previous jam. Second jam underway. Capital City Cannondalls jammer trying to take that outside line, but a very, very solid defensive wall from the Divas. Vag Lightning.
Holly Rocket getting out first, lead jammer, followed closely later by Lebras. As Holly Rocket gets to the rear of the pack, slides through but bounced outside, shuts it down. Not everyone got that message though.
It was a very, very strange call off from the referees. All of the whistles, appropriate whistles, didn't happen there. The blockers and jammers were a bit confused on the track. but it was a score of 3 points up for the Cannondals in the end. The score right now, Cannondals 7, Divas 2.
Two of the Dolls in the Zach's Bruise Cream penalty box right now, so the pack advantage is going to the Divas.
780 of the Capital Cannondals. Very, very strong blocker. Look out for her. She will be on the jammers at all times as much as possible.
Kamikaze out first, getting lead jammer for the Cannondals. Jammerhead Shark still stuck in the middle of the pack, struggling to find her way through.
Yeah, she took a huge hit from Edmonton on the outside line there, just as she was trying to exit the pack.
And Kamikaze shuts it down, taking her 4 and going home. Which is the way you do it.
Cannondals have 3 they sent the 4th out just in time. I was wondering what was going on there. There was no one in the penalty box. This should be a 5-on-5 jam, the way roller derby should be played. Someone was assessed an illegal procedure. I'm not quite sure what for. Number 720 of the Cannondals.
Angard making it out first for the Divas, getting lead jammer, but very close. In fact, neck and neck. It's Kyle Kenzie of the Cannondals.
A little bit of jammer on jammer action from Kyle Kenzie, forcing the Angard to call off the jam. Very smart call off from Angard as well. She didn't want to give up any points to the Cannondals as they are in the lead.
"16 minutes remaining in this bout. Cannondals at 11, Divas at 2.
Edmondson again, with a huge block on the outside, holding the Divas jammer in the pack, springing their own jammer.
LeBras taking lead jammer for the Cannondals.
Number 780 of the Cannondals, watch out for her. She will be a threat for the capital city in the future.
Holly Rocket makes it out, but she's getting called for cutting the track, and so she's going to have a sit in the Zach's Bruise Cream penalty box.
This is a very huge jam for Capital City. LeBros is a very, very good jammer. She's put up a lot of points for her team in this tournament. Divas really have to remain strong here to keep this game within reach. LeBros sneaking through the outside line there, finding a weakness in the Divas' walls. Signaling for some little bit of offense, trying to get through the pack. Nice job by the Divas to stay strong.
Juggernaut takes her down, but quickly back up on her feet. Juggernaut's trying to get in there, but she gets pushed out by Edmonton.
LeBros does call off the jam at the end there, trying to ice the jammer of the Divas, but unsuccessful in doing so as she exited the pack just in time.
Ice the jammer? What was that term?
Ice the jammer. For those of you who don't know at home, if the jammer is in the penalty box and you call off the jam before she exits, then you're icing the jammer in the penalty box. You're keeping the jammer in for another jam, so you're essentially giving your team the advantage in hopefully getting another lead jam. Lead jam percentage in roller derby is almost more important than points. I know that sounds weird, but you can win a game 1-0 as long as you have 100% lead jam the rest of the game.
Thanks, Rex.
Not a problem.
Fantastic view of the penalty board.
Yeah, absolutely. There hasn't been as many penalties in this tournament this year. I think it's due to the fact of the training that's involved in a lot of these leagues. A lot of them are learning the rules early on and understanding the game and how it's played. It's very, very important. If you don't know at home, the definition of the pack is the most important thing about this game. Without pack definition, the game is 100% broken. It does not work. If you don't know how the pack works, you should learn.
Kamikaze going up against Holly Rocket in this jam. Kamikaze making her way out first for the Cannondalls lead jammer. As you were saying, Rex, the high percentage of lead jammer status for the Cannondalls.
Oh yeah, generally the team with the higher lead jam percentage will win the game. The only time I've seen that in the other team's favor is when there's a lot of power jams on the other side.
That was a natural grand slam for the Cannondalls there.
Yep, the Cannondalls poised to pick up a 9-point jam in this. 9-point jams are very, very important. It means your team has enough defense to keep the jammer in the pack to score a 5-point grand slam and another 4, and I think she is able to do it. She does.
Looks like it.
9-point jams are huge.
Looks like a familiar lineup. The Vanguard going up against Kaio-Kenzie.
Kaio-Kenzie is a very, very smart jammer for this Capital City Derby Dolls. Cannondalls. It would not surprise me if you see her pushing to play for their charter team in the future. Very, very solid blocking by the Divas, knocking Kaio-Kenzie to the inside, holding her in the pack, but she's able to find that inside line. Very, very tough thing to train for jammers, to take the middle or closer to the inside as opposed to the outside.
The Vanguard not having so much luck. She got bounced out by Edmonton. That's not slowing down Kaio-Kenzie at all. She makes it all the way through for a natural grand slam, but now she's got the Vanguard on her tail.
And despite doing the majority of the jamming for the Cannondalls, Kaio-Kenzie still looks like she has a ton of endurance, which looks good for the Capital City if they're able to get past the Divas and get into the final.
I think that's Badge Lightning jamming for the first time tonight for the Divas.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the first time she's jammed since the first game for the Divas. I saw her jam in the first game. She did well. I don't know why they haven't jammed her the rest of the tournament, but they are giving it a try right now. And looks like Badge Lightning might have a line on the inside. She did, and hit number 2 of the Cannondalls fairly hard, and is assessed a back blocking penalty. It was a very, very solid contact to the back of number 2.
She looks like she was hurting a bit on that one. Was going to pass the star off.
Absolutely. Number 2 is Apple Sass from the Cannondalls.
Lebros is just running away with this. That's another 5-point grand slam for the Cannondalls. Just really giving the Divas a shellacking in this game so far. We are like 8.5 minutes in.
Absolutely. The Cannondalls have all the pieces of the puzzle in roller derby. They have a solid 3 jammer rotation. They're able to execute power jams very, very well. They're able to execute offense off the jammer line while maintaining defensive posture against the opposing jammer. This is a very, very solid fresh meat team. I do know years ago in this tournament, all you needed was one solid jammer to get it done for your team. It's not the case anymore. Coaches and captains or skaters are able to transfer skills very, very quickly to these skaters. They're able to bring them up fast. They're able to get them in game ready and put on a good show. And I'm glad there's a lot of people out here willing to pay the money to watch this, because this is great roller derby.
Quickly out front, number 69, Kamikaze for the Cannondalls, gets lead jammer, leaving Holly Rocket in the dust, but she does manage to escape as well. Kamikaze just slides through the pack very quickly. She gets her 4 points, shutting it down before Holly Rocket can get there. 4 on the door.
Absolutely, just killing the clock, making sure that jammer taking all the time she can to before she calls off the jam. They know they're in the lead. They know they just need to wind this clock down. 9 minutes and 45 seconds left. There is still time for the Divas to turn this around, but they have to do this now. again, anything in roller derby can happen. Earlier today, there was a 40-point jam put on the board. That is...
Kyo Kenzie, quickly out front.
That's good.
The end guard back there having difficulty getting through. This might be another 9-pointer for Kyo Kenzie.
Absolutely. She got out, got 5 the points. Vanguard. Vanguard just getting through the pack now. Kyo Kenzie coming up to a solid wall from the Divas, trying to hold her up. Nice attempt to block on the inside by number M16. M18, Kimikaze.
Sorry, go on. That's exactly what you said for the last one. That was 9 points. Exactly the same.
Yeah, teams that pick up 9 points in games, they're doing things well. It seems to be it just means that your defensive posture is just that much better than the opposing team in that jam. I have noticed in this tournament there's a lot of iterations of Kamikaze Kitten's name from London RollerGirls, as she's a very, very solid jammer. There's on the same team Kamikaze and Kimikaze.
True enough. Looks like there's been a star transfer on the Divas over to number 64, Fight of the Concords.
And Fight of the Concords did come out of the junior roller derby, out of Divas, out of Tord. And it's amazing to see skaters advance through the junior roller derby system and become a part of their adult sister leagues. LaBrosse on that last jam, playing a little jammer defense, just trying to kill the clock, stop the Divas from putting points on the board while maintaining the lead. If I was on the bench for the Canadolls right now, I would start jamming some different players while they have a substantial lead, just to keep their 3-jammer rotation ready for the next game. Because that final game, I know, will be a very, very tough bout to come away with.
Jammerhead Shark hot on the heels of Kamikaze, but Kamikaze has lead jammer. Made it out milliseconds before Jammerhead. And Kamikaze wants nothing to do with this contest at this point. Shuts it down.
Absolutely, and Capital City can't hear me from here, and they send out LaBrosse to jam. She just jammed in the previous jam, got lead jam, played a little bit defense. Let's see if she does the same thing here for the Capital City Cannondalls. Although Angard for the Divas has done a phenomenal job for the Divas all day in the jammer roll.
Only 2 of the Divas blockers, because 2 are in the pit and bin. Kyo Kenzie making short work of them.
Look at that. I was talking about LaBrosse, and it's Kyo Kenzie. I apologize to anyone at home. The announcer's table is not behind the jammer line. We are trying to recognize faces from about 100 feet away.
And we are trained from birth to read numbers on backs.
This is very true. Kyo Kenzie, I believe the Yangard was sent to the box on a penalty, and the Capital City Cannondalls are on a power jam, something the Divas did not want to happen. This game is getting a little bit out of hand. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left now. The score is 84-40. That's an 80-point differential. That'll be tough for the best teams out there to overcome.
The Engard returns to the track, but takes a hard hit there from Edmonton. Pushed her out. She was trying to go back to make Engard go even further back, but the Divas blockers kept her from doing that. It's kind of like a counter blocking offensive strategy.
Absolutely. Edmonton trying to soul crush Angard. Wasn't able to do so because of the Divas blockers stifling that attempt.
It's a soul crush as opposed to a regular hit.
Soul crush, for those of you at home, if the jammer is almost out of the pack, needs to get past one foremost blocker. That blocker happens to knock them out of bounds and recycles them back to the back-to-back. The initial hit happened, but unfortunately Edmonton was unable to recycle her to the very back of the pack. Diva's very, very aware of how this game of roller derby works. Very good training. Steve Mahood has been coaching towards Divas for a number of years now. He's very, very aware of how this game works and tries to transfer his knowledge to the skaters as much as he can. He also plays for the Toronto Men's Roller Derby.
There's Kyle Kenzie having a chat with Gualo Fauchot. Say that 5 times fast.
Guilo Fauchot. I probably can't. I'm not quite sure. I think Steve Mahood has called this official review. I don't know what he's requesting of the referees. He did have a lot of hand motions. Usually I can tell because they make the hand motions of the penalties that they're trying to enforce, but I couldn't quite pick up what he was requesting.
I think someone's getting a toweling down on the jam line there.
It's very true. Steve Mahood might have just been stalling for time. I've been known to do that in the past for my team. I like to think of myself as a master of stalling for time.
I think there's a lot of sweating going over there. Other than the toweling down, I think LaBrosse just got her numbers repainted.
It's a very important skill. I have actually stalled for time so a skater can use the bathroom before the game started. I just rambled on to the head ref as much as I possibly could, and she was able to get to the trackside right on time. Well,
to the loo.
3 minutes late, but
Holly Rocket going up against LaBrosse. I'm switching to your pronunciation, LaBrosse, because I'm just assuming that's correct. Since no one's told me otherwise.
I just used to play lacrosse, and it just seems, I don't know, I could be wrong. I hope at home no one's yelling at me right now saying that's not right at all. You are incorrect, sir. But
either one of us could be wrong because it could be pronounced completely different.
Absolutely. There's a lot of names in roller derby to remember, as most of them should be unique. Sometimes there's similarities, but for the most part, roller derby players are very, very innovative when it comes to names.
True enough. LaBrosse out front for the Divas, getting lead jammer. Holly Rocket getting a little bit of a fall down at the rear of the pack, but she's back up and makes her way through, but not before LaBrosse has returned to the pack.
Again, I think the Cannondales should just run the clock here, but they're not. And at home, if you're wondering, running the clock, they get lead jam and just run the clock out. They're able to get through the pack to score points. They're in a substantial lead. There's 4 minutes left.
Yeah, really, the Divas jammer could just sit down off the start right now, and they'd still win at the end. Although that wouldn't be sportsmanly or sportspersonly.
Absolutely.
Is there
not
a proper term for that?
I'm not sure. Number 69 for Cannondales gets lead jammer.
Kamikaze. Jammerhead Shark still stuck in the pack while Kamikaze returns to the pack. Picks up her natural 5-point grand slam.
Number 780 getting an elbowing penalty on the outside of the pack. That's Edmonton going to the box. I do believe that's the first penalty she's had, so she's able to play at a high level and not to take too many penalties either.
Big smack up there around turn 4. Both blockers seem okay. Maybe not. 27, Catherine Hipburn seems a little dizzy.
And again, before this game, I thought the Divas were going to hold it a bit close to the Cannondales, but I'm not quite sure what happens. Maybe it's just the length of this tournament. I know everything's behind by almost 2 hours. That could be taking its toll on one of these teams, but Capital City did have to travel six and a half, roughly, hours to get here.
Yeah. Okay, Rex, question for you. So we've seen Kyle Kenzie going up against the Vanguard many times over this 20-minute bout. Do you think that's on purpose, or is it just that they matched up 3 jammer rotation, or are somebody doing that on purpose?
Sometimes, a lot of the time it's done on purpose, especially at a higher level. They try and match jammers to go against other jammers. I do think, though, both of these teams have a jammer rotation that they're using, and it just happens to be set that way. A lot of times, if a jammer is doing well but then gets stuffed up by an opposing team, they will sit her for a jam, not necessarily because she's done a bad job. They just want, the bench staff just wants that jammer to try against a different line, because a lot of teams do use the same lineup rotation as well. So if a jammer isn't getting it done against a particular line, they will sit her for one just to get her on a different line.
So in a regular WFTDA game, there are 7 penalties before you get taken out, not allowed to play the rest of the bout. Is that the same number in a tournament bout?
If it's a WFTDA tournament, then yes, it's going to be 7. In this tournament, they are going by the WFTDA rules, but it's a shortened time frame. So each skater gets 4 penalties before they're asked to leave the game, which is an appropriate amount. It is 20 minutes, 4 penalties. You shouldn't be getting up to that amount of penalties, but it has happened quite a few times in some of these games in this tournament. These skaters are learning the game, some of them as the tournament goes on, as a game-to-game basis. So penalties do increase.
As we saw a brief flash there of the penalty board on the Divas side, Juggernaut, number 339, had 4 penalties beside her name, and it was crossed out. So I think that means that I didn't even see it happen, but she's now gone out of this game.
Absolutely. Referees tend to do it quickly. They'll skate over to the bench and just say, hey, you have 4, you need to exit the track or the bench area, as you can't be fielded anymore. They no longer have to be asked to leave the arena. It's just they have to not be on the bench. She can come over to the sidelines and sit and watch if she wants to.
Nothing, neither way on that one.
I believe Angard for the Divas did pick up lead jam in that last jam, called it off, which was one of their first lead jams in a long, long while.
Down to less than 2 minutes in this bout.
That's correct. The score is 1-11 for the Cannondalls to 4 for the Divas of Toronto Roller Derby.
Holly Rocket out first this time.
LeBros hitting her in a little bit of jammer action, knocking her to the outside, picking up a huge 80-foot lead, forcing her to call off the jam early.
Just can't win for losing in this bout. Divas still trying hard, though. They're not giving up. Coming down to a minute.
Absolutely. Angard back out there for the Divas. Doing a lot of work in the jammer rotation for the Divas. I think she's starting to feel the burn in the legs and in the shoulders. Jammers tend to have targets on their back. They get hit more than anyone on the track. They usually are trying to go at 100% speed 100% of the time.
Kamikaze getting lead jammer status for the Cannondalls. As she comes up back behind the pack.
Huge pile up there from the Cannondalls. A bit of a tripped up the entire team. Oh, and one of the Cannondalls skaters flies into the trackside.
Suicide
spectators.
row.
That's right.
There's a reason it's called that.
Absolutely. If you're sitting there, you gotta know that you might get a skate in the face.
I think those are some members of Les Bouches as well. So they're pretty used to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, the period clock has completely run down. 1 minute left in the jam timer. Kamikaze
That's right.
all the way through one more time. 4 more points.
Cannondall's bench signaling to the jam to call it off. They know the time is up. which signifies the end of this jam. They had lead. They could decide when it ended, and they decided to do it as soon as possible.
Yep.
And we're just waiting for the officials' final score of this game. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say the Cannondals have moved on. They will be in the semifinals.
How much money would you put on that bet?
I would put all of the money in the world on that bet. And then I would buy the world just because I could.
Just because you can afford it at that point.
Do you make money at that point if you own the world, or are you just like?
No, because if you own the world, then you own all the money and all the debt at the
and
same
all the
time.
debt. I think you would actually be in debt if you bought the world.
Actually, no, I think you'd break even. I think if it all works out, you would be breaking even. It's a zero-sum game. This money business is capitalist big, I'm telling you.
I know, and the referees are still debating on if this is an official final or not. I think my ref nuts over near the scores table.
I think it's less to do with debating and more to do with counting.
This is true. I know the referees want to make sure that all the points are accounted for, regardless of the score on the on the scoreboard, and that is the official final. Cannondals 119, the Divas 7. My name is Professor Rex, and
I'm Obi Serious.
Thank you for joining us for the 2014 Too Fresh, Too Furious tournament. We still have the semifinals coming up very, very shortly. I hope you remain with us. Thank you very much for your time.
Will be game 26.
Everyone's here. And here we are back at Ted Reeve Arena, moving things along. This is Monochrome here with...
I'm Lightning Slim. Hello, everyone.
And we're about to call one of the final bouts here. This is going to decide who goes to the third, fourth bout and who goes to first and second.
That's right. We've already had one of these games decided. Capital City just beating Toronto Roller Derby's Divas to be the first to go into that medal round. And right now we're going to see Les Bûches wearing the yellow, an amalgamated team from various parts east of here around the Quebec border. And in the red, the South Simcoe Rebel Rollers.
The refs are getting serious now. The jam is underway. Or at least getting lined up.
It's been a day-long tournament, so of course, no time to waste as we barrel on into the evening.
The supermoon has not been our friend today, so we're...
We did have a bit of injury time tacked onto the various bouts happening over in the bubble. Which, threw our schedule a little bit up, but don't worry, we're going to stick with you as long as you stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the action.
Jamming.
Amazon.
Yep, jamming in the front for South Simcoe. Amazon gets lead jammer. And I
And
didn't
for Les
quite
Bûches,
catch.
it is number 78. That's La Grande Noirceur from Montreal.
Amazon calling it off. 0 points for Les Bûches.
And a 3-point pickup for the Rebel Rollers. 3-0 with 19 and a half minutes remaining.
Les Bûches starting at the pivot line.
Yeah,
Not seeing much of that in 2014, but
That's right, moving things forward. We've seen it today,
Yeah.
actually. I don't know if it's something that's coming back into fashion.
that's right.
Everything old is new again.
Fresh meat, we're watching some very old footage and decided, hey, well, let's bring this back. That's Rapid Ass that just got hit out there for Les Bûches.
And it's Whiskey Sour jamming for South Simcoe. Penalties on the go here. We'll see. Yeah, that is a South Simcoe penalty. And a lead jam for Les Bûches.
A little bit of a pile up there for South Simcoe.
That's hippie
Air
check
in
in the
the back.
box for South Simcoe.
And Whiskey Sour still stuck in this pack, having a hard time getting isolated, and she just barely breaks through.
You see on the bottom of your screen coming around the mountain, Rapid Ass engaging with the pack, looking to the inside and the outside, trying to decide which way to go. Oh, struck down there.
And she finishes it off, picks up another 4 points. But so does Whiskey Sour. Finds a little break. Her blocker's doing a great job giving her a hole. Whiskey Sour taking a huge hit.
And a
on
drawback
turn one.
there. You see, coming through the center of your screen, Rapid Ass, looking from inside to outside. You see the smooth skating as she comes around and puts up another scoring pass. That is the full 5.
South Simcoe with a panty pass. Just kind of wasting her time there, Dine and Dash Tash.
Dine and
Trying-
Dash Tash just absorbing hits from Les Bûches skaters.
Definitely a solid jammer out there.
But
She did get lapped, so that was 5 points for Les Bûches. And 4 for
indeed, and
her.
Rapid Ass not finished yet. She's about to engage with the pack, but we're out of time.
Les Bûches starting off this jam lying on the Mill Street Brewery pivot line.
The old line sprawl, trying to gain control of that real estate before we blow the whistle. So Les Bûches currently with a score of 23. South Simcoe Rebel Rollers 11 and 16 and a half minutes remaining.
And that is La Grande Noirceur jamming for Les Bûches. She is lead jammer. And we still haven't seen it. Believe that is jamming for South Simcoe. Where is she? Mass Genocide.
And she is being held very effectively at the rear of the pack. Finally, she breaks free. Mass Genocide has cleared the pack, but not before La Grande Norseuse can put up points, and she is inside the pack again, doing just that.
Oh, taking a little bit of a hit there by that wall. This Genocide really feeling the punishment there, but she just is up and at him. Another 4 points awarded to Les Bouches.
And 4 for Mass Genocide of South Simcoe. You see there on your screen both jammers inside the pack engaging. Norseuse puts her hands to hips. I'm told by some of my more French-savvy comrades here that les bûches is a slang term. It means the logs, and it is also a term applied to people who don't know what they're doing, or noobs.
Nice.
Appropriate for a fresh meat team.
Yeah, the logs. I love it.
And those logs currently setting a score of 46-19 over the Rebel Rollers.
And they're going to call a timeout. South Simcoe also taking this opportunity to have a chat.
Unusual for the team in the lead to call a timeout at this point, but they may just want to solidify their attack going forward so they can nail down this lead.
And you know, it's halfway through. Why not? You got them. Use them.
True enough. You see there the Rubber Rollers, some discussion with their coaching staff. Hands-on, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it looks like a little bit of a line mix-up there for La Bouche. Just going to change things up a little bit.
And that's number 8 who's going to be jamming for them. That's Rapidas again. Rapidas, obviously something worked in that timeout and that pep talk, because away she goes.
And that's Hippie.
Hippie check.
Check.
But we see that this was some kind of false start. They're being called back to the line.
Well then. That might be why it was so seamless, so easy for the jammer to get through.
This false start has occurred fairly often in this particular tournament today. Not sure which wires are being crossed. It just might be the combination of newer skaters.
I think so. I mean, it is a little bit confusing, and you hear that one whistle and you think, oh, this is go time. And so, you know, it's just a little bit of seasoning that will
Rapidas, lead jammer again. A little bit harder work for her this time. And
Hippie check
Hippie
right
check
on her butt.
Gives chase.
Oh, and number 8 is going to the penalty box. So this is a power jam now for South Simcoe. Hippie check. Only jammer on the track. She's already picked up 4 points. So this could be the pickup she needs.
Her teammates stand to one side, let her to her own devices until such time as they can create some disturbance. And it totally works. She is through.
Yeah, in previous games, South Simcoe, when they really just had one job to focus on, they were definitely great at like just making those holes for their jammer, and they're doing it again in these passes.
This is a pretty textbook push-in maneuver as Hippie check heads towards the outside. Now you see at the top of your screen there that Rapidas is back, but not really getting anywhere past that wall of South Simcoe.
Hippie check got some momentum there. Oh, she just had one to beat. She does get knocked out.
And that allows Rapidas to complete a 4-point pass.
I think Hippie check almost forgot that she wasn't lead jammer. She's hesitating a little bit. And she does make it through.
A nifty step around maneuver to get around that blocker. And Rapidas has taken a second penalty in this jam. Track cut, and she will sit down again.
It's going to give Hippie Check a bit more time to pick up some points in this pass.
A bit of disarray for Les Bouches.
And the jam is just about to end for time. That's it. So this is going to be a nice start for South Simcoe, being able to just start with the lone jammer there.
And they brought themselves to within 9 points. A sizable Les Bouches lead has evaporated over the course of that disastrous jam, with 2 jammer penalties against them and a power start now for the Rebel Rollers. 52 Les Bouches, Rebel Rollers 43, and 12 minutes remain.
And it looks like Les Bouches is potentially calling another timeout. Perhaps an official review. Yes, it is an official review.
See there, Les Bouches occupying the jammer line by lying on it again.
Just holding some space. Having a little break. They don't have much room to get too egotistical in this bout, because definitely seen their lead evaporate a bit, and so got to stay focused.
When we return, it will be Amazon jamming. It appears she's wearing the helmet cover. She'll be jamming for South Simcoe in what is like to be a power start, unless something changes as a result of the negotiations happening at the center.
Mass genocide with the pivot stripe. She's been jamming quite a bit throughout this tournament, so it's nice to see that little change in how the pivot operates as sort of that backup jammer.
It's entirely possible if Amazon runs into trouble, we'll see penny pass.
See that pass, absolutely.
So congratulations are in order, because these teams are like to place in this tournament. The winner going on to the gold medal game, as it were, first and second place, and the loser of this game still a chance for that third place in the tournament itself. More opportunities. So these teams have all done very, very well to get to this point this evening.
South Simcoe taking the front, and pack is broken up. Amazon just clears right through. I think that was a bit of a tricky move there by South Simcoe to get that pack rolling and broken up.
That is effective pack management. Amazon takes aim, tries to shopping cart the blockers in front of her without foul use of forearms or elbows. She effectively does so. She has one to beat.
And a hard one to beat. That was quite the sternum hit there.
And now, yes, Amazon being recycled as Rapid Ass back from the penalty box.
And she does call
scoots
it.
through the pack. Yeah, Amazon's forced to call.
She did pick up 5 points in that pass.
Yes, even though she was forced back, she already had the points.
So smart call on Amazon's part. Really chipping away at Les Bouches' lead.
Grand Noircel, number 78 for Les Bouches, lead jammer. She's pursued by Whiskey Sours.
So Simcoe holding a wall at the back. Oh, and an attempt to apex jump. Failed. Whiskey Sour has now picked up the pace.
Whiskey Sour makes her way through the pack, and that is a 4-point pass. That will tie up the bout at 52. However,
quite,
briefly,
yeah.
yes.
4 points awarded as well to both teams. So still only a 4-point lead for Les Bouches.
And we're officially over the halfway mark, just under 10 minutes remaining. Les Bouches 56, the Rebel Rollers 52.
And right out of the gate, that's number 8.
That's Rapidas.
And
Mass genocide, yeah, jamming for South Simcoe, but it is Rapidas on a scoring pass. She is through the pack very quickly, squeezing through a very tight spot in order to put up that 4-point pass.
Mass genocide looking for some help in the pack. Trying to deke around these yellow players. Oh, and she forces her way through. Unfortunately, can't quite make it past 2x4. Drags her all the way back to the back of the pack.
That's Millie Malice, 2x4. She's from Rimouski.
And Rapidas, another 5-point scores.
And a big smile on her face as she skates around near our table.
Huge hit on mass genocide. On all counts, all 4 of these blockers are just beating her up.
Mass genocide dragged all the way back to behind the pack by Kennernet. Now she passes the helmet cover to Amazon.
Rapidas hitting that red wall. South Simcoe players unable to break it up. And she does get through, picks up 4. And 2 were stolen by South Simcoe's Amazon.
And Les Bouches reestablishing their lead in the second half of this contest. We'll see if that can last. But now they sit at 79 points, and the Rebel Rollers at 58. 7.5 minutes left on the clock.
Le Grand Noisseur lined up for Les Bouches as the jammer. And that looks like Hippie Check struggling at the back of this pack, taking a risky outside line.
Millie Malice has her but falls, and Hippie Check gets away. Le Grand Noisseur going inside. That's a great physicality from her as a jammer, and she puts up 4.
Hippie Check now entering the pack. She's stuck behind her own players, and it looks like Le Grand Noisseur is not calling it off. She's hungry for more points, wants to open this gap up.
Oh, and there, jammer to jammer. She puts her entire side into Hippie Check in turn number 4, knocks her down, and skates on with a grand slam. And this has resulted in a penalty to Hippie Check.
She is not happy about that.
Grand Noisseur is handling business of her own, and now has created her own power jam.
Just one more to beat, and there's her 5 points. Just breaking this wide open. Oh, and a nice sweep to the inside.
And that will put Les Bouches in triple-digit territory, thanks to a ferocious jam here by La Grande Noisseuse.
Hippie Check out of the box, and she does pick up 4 points. She's hot for revenge here. That power jam did not last long. And there was a track cut major on her as well. There is no lead. Hippie Check just looking to score a few more points before this time runs out. I don't even think she saw the clock. She's trying to pass the panty. Unsuccessful.
Not enough time, but there were only about 4 seconds left when she took it off.
She did pick up 2 points in that pass. 1 for Le Grand Noisseur before she ended up in the penalty box. So this is going to be a power start for South Simcoe Roller Rebels.
They need this. They're sitting at 64 points. Les Bouches 109 and 5 minutes left on the clock.
Yep. We need to close this gap up. And they're doing that tricky thing, just taking off the line before the whistle blows. Nice timing there. Amazon jamming for South Simcoe. Very physical skater, and she is out and lead. South Simcoe just taking a seat right on LaBouche's lap there.
Amazon, oh, in a mad foot scramble inside the pack and receiving quite a bit of physical punishment. She sees La Grande Noisseur coming in the rearview mirror and immediately calls it off. And that gains them 4 points. So they're not quite what they wanted from that power start, I suspect, Monochrome.
Yeah. Certainly not, and that could have extended at least another lap, but that's, you know, what you learn from experience as well.
A learning opportunity. That is what this tournament is all about, this Fresh and Furious tournament 2014. I can't imagine you're just joining us now, but if you are, that's what you're watching. On Layer 9 Productions, there is your lead jammer. It's number 4x4 for Les Bûches. That's Camionnette.
And jamming for South Simcoe, just leaving the pack now, is Dynan Dash Tash. She is getting dragged to the back. Enters in legally.
She's lost quite a bit of momentum now. As a wall encloses around her, she squeezes through that. 4 points there for Dynan Dash Tash, but also 4 for Camionnette, and Camionnette is ahead of her. Oh, a little bit of a hop over the apex for Camionnette.
She just licks her lips and just takes it easy peasy. Looks like a little passive pass there around. And LaBouche sees that coming. That's Whiskey Sours that's taken the helmet there.
A wise maneuver to have Whiskey Sours in that pivot position. She's an experienced jammer, and
that happened just in time because Dynan Dash Tash is now going to the penalty box as a blocker.
Oh, Camionnette reverses direction and drives her shoulder into Whiskey Sour. A retaliatory hit by Alice Backstabber, however, brings Camionnette back, and this pack is now moving very slowly. It's gotten into a bit of a grind.
Both jammers just working the angles of their skates, trying to stay on foot. Camionnette has picked up 5 and 4 for Whiskey Sours.
Camionnette makes another apex hop, comes out with 4 points, but also 4 points for Whiskey Sour. They're just trading at this point.
Just running out the clock here.
And
just under 2 minutes.
That's right, just about 150. Les Bûches, a score of 131. South Simcoe Rebel Rollers 84.
And there's a timeout being called. Official timeout this time.
The Rubber Rollers on the jammer line there, responding to an effort from their fans. We've had a brief score adjustment. We're now at 130 to 80 in favor of Les Bûches. 1 minute 41 on the clock.
Grande Nessa jamming for Les Bûches, but she is beat out by number 67. Les Bûches just picks up 4 points, 2 points for the South Simcoe Rebel Rollers.
2 point net gain for Les Bûches. .134 to 82. Less than a minute. This is likely the final jam.
Hippie check jamming for South Simcoe. And I believe that is... Who's that? Number 8 is Rapidass.
That's Rapidass. And Rapid, she is. And lead jammer.
Hippie check also just getting a little bit of an advantage out of that pack. South Simcoe has a wall at the back. Rapidas trying to get her team to break that up a little bit. Hippie check just coasting around that outside line. She tries to overtake her, but Rapidas stays on her feet. Certainly a valiant effort.
Hipicek laughing at herself as she perhaps not the effect she wanted.
Yeah. Stuck behind a serious wall. Hippie looking for any little edge.
Official time has expired. When the jam is over, it's all over. And we'll see what the final score is. Safe to say, with a 50-point separation, this is a victory by Les Bouches over the Rebel Rollers of South Simcoe. The Rebel Rollers will now immediately play the Divas in that bronze medal game.
Red and black versus red and black.
Oh, somebody's going to change, I think.
I would hope that the Divas
the referees
have changed by now.
may make a request, yes. But still, if it's red and black versus black and red, I know that's the referees. I know that's their least favorite.
Well, it's also super common. Seems to be the favorite of brand new leagues, especially.
Indeed.
Still waiting for this final score. Fans and the Rebel Rollers lining up on the line. We know who won. We're just waiting for everything to be all official-like. And that's it. 90 points for the Rebel Rollers, 139 for Les Bouches.
And actually, there was a last-moment point adjustment there. Les Bouches, one less. They had 140 down to 139.
Yep.
A victory nonetheless. Les Bouches moving on to face Capital City's Cannon Dolls 2 bouts from now. My name is Lightning Slim. I've been joined by
Monochrome. And we are going to take a very short break.
Very short. Go absolutely nowhere. Like make a really quick sandwich and get back to your computer, folks.
Just grab a beer and have the sandwich later. Have a Mill Street beer.
See you shortly, folks.
See you soon.
Jax was yelling at Obi. Just tell him to go. Tell him to go. Yeah. Well, yeah, as long as they don't take more than 45 minutes apiece. Yeah. I said like that. I would be here by 11. I can't see like cleaning up and out of here. What's this weed? What's this weed business? Yeah. That's weed business? Yeah. Oh, we can do it. I can clean up. Oh. I can clean up. I got all the juice. Oh, when did they close the bar? I forgot. Oh, no, I still got it. I just got it.
It's still going. Oh, we got a nice monitor now. That's good.
I get to run the whole gambit today.
I know, it's fun.
I get to work. Nerd.
Did you do in-house at all, or
No.
just do stream? That's hilarious.
Oh, I mean, you, Slim, Monica, Nerd. Got to do a game by myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you?
Yeah. I was sitting here and no one was. Slim got locked up over there, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna run this whole thing by myself. Sure.
Well, why not? All right, so.
What is our third place game?
Third place game is going to be Divas versus the South Simcoe Rebel Rollers.
Perfect. Both in the bottom left corner.
And the winning bout is going to be Les Bouches
Yep.
versus the Cannon Dolls from Capital City Derby Dames.
And that is it for me.
Good work, Obi.
Well planned. Oh, I like the complete miss as well. Every high five I ever do is like, noted.
Never make that mistake again.
It's funny when I used to ball, I would always go like this, and someone came back and be like, ah! And then I would always be in front of it, they'd figure it out, and then they'd forget.
Yeah. And it happened again. And again. And again. La Québécois.
This is 3-4, right? 3-4.
3-4.
Who is it?
South Central Roller Rebels versus the Divas. The Toronto Roller Derby.
Divas, after just playing a game, we're going to have to go get...
It's South Simcoe.
South Simcoe just played the game.
Oh, sorry, South Simcoe just played the game. Divas just played before. Yeah.
Divas have had a little bit of a break.
Yeah. There's my. You pass me the Bush one that's from under there.
Underneath?
Yeah. All right, good. That and then. And welcome back to Ted Reeve Arena in downtown Toronto, Ontario, Canada, for the 3-4 game, the bronze medal matchup of the Fresh and the Furious 2014 Rookie Tournament. I'm Captain Lou Albamo, joined on the microphone by
Las Vegas. Hello, everybody.
And these teams have been dueling all day long against other teams. Both just dropped their semifinal game. The South Simcoe Rebel Rollers lost to Les Bouches, the team from Quebec, just previous to this game, so they have had no time to rest. And the Divas lost handily to the Cannondalls from Capital City Derby Dames from Ottawa. So we will see that matchup after this game. But this is a 3-4 matchup. There's still some pride at stake here.
Yep.
And I don't know if they have medals for third place, but if they do, I'm sure either one of these teams would be very happy to take them home.
It would be a great honor to get this far into the tournament, at least take some hardware with you. Now, one of the things I've noticed so far is there's been the teams that have had the back-to-back games, and there's the teams that have a little bit of a break in the games. Captain Lou, what do you think is the better advantage in this situation?
I would say earlier on in the day, back-to-back games is not a bad thing. It keeps you in the rhythm. 20-minute games, they're really not that long. You're able to sort of stay together. At this point in time in the day, though, it's been a long day. It's been a hot day, an exhausting day. The marathon is almost complete, and I think maybe that last little 40 minutes that the Divas had will be just enough to propel them past South Simcoe. But, you know, South Simcoe has played really tough offense and defense all day, and I've been really impressed by them out there.
No, there's been a couple of notable standouts, including Dine and Dash Tash, who's been an excellent blocker on the track all day, but has also put in a couple of key jams.
Jam is underway. Game is underway. 3-4 game in red. South Simcoe Rebel Roller Fresh Meat Team. That's Amazon taking the lead jammer for the South Simcoe team out of Barrie, Ontario. And still stuck in the pack is Holly Rocket for the Divas.
Amazon has been doing most of the work out here with the star on her head, and she's proved that she belongs in this group.
Absolutely. She went up against the tough blockers from Les Bouches in literally 10 minutes ago and held her own against the hard blocking style from Quebec. and able to put 4 points on the board against, well, the score is not correct on the scoreboard, but that was the Rebel Rollers who picked up 4 points. We'll see if that gets fixed at some point. Hopefully it does.
I'm sure they'll work out the kinks at some point in this match. Someone's going to look up and realize it's on the wrong side, but for right now, we're going to keep going back to the line here.
Another jam underway. Whiskey Sour taking star for South Simcoe and working her way to the front, getting lead jammer. That's Ann Gard. Number 13-12 for the Divas. 2 jams in. The lead jammers have been exchanged. Whiskey Sour, a skater who looks like she never wants to have the star on her head, but somehow managing to get through with great regularity. Stuck at the front of the pack right now as the Divas try to lock her down, allowing Ann Gard to get through on her first scoring pass. She completes that. Whiskey Sour out just ahead of her. 4 points. Ann Gard not looking to get any more, Ross.
No. At this point in the game, you're just looking to inch a little bit forward, get a couple points on the board, and start building on your lead.
Yeah, again, these teams have been playing all day long in this hot arena. So even when you're not playing, you're still sweating because it's been 30 degrees Celsius with high humidity in these places, and there's been no respite. So
gorgeous day outside, however.
Oh, a very nice day outside. You don't get to see outside when you're playing roller derby.
Oh, and we've got an interesting situation here. Both jammers have false started, and the pack is still trying to figure out what the referees are doing here at the moment. As long as both jammers are going to go to the penalty box for a penalty on a false start in this situation because they did not yield anything. Now it's just a race to the penalty box to see who sits first. At the end of it, they're both going to get popped out. It's going to be a full 2-minute jam.
Yeah, and we will get going as soon as we sit down as Jammerhead Shark, I believe, that went to the box. So yeah, what happened is that the whistle had not blown. Both teams sprinted forward to the pivot line, and I think the jammers thought that the jam was on, and both jammers took off, and then the whistle blew. Neither one yielded any kind of advantage. Both got those false starts. And as Ross said, we now have a 2-minute jam. Initial pass done by both sides. Ojibwan Kenobi, and Jammerhead Shark. And that initial pass was easy, but the scoring pass is a different story as Bloc Québécois and Flight of the Concords doing a great job of holding Kenobi in the pack. Getting out on completing her first scoring pass. Jammerhead Shark, there's Kenobi. She's got 4 as well. Teams trading points, Ross.
Yeah, it's been neck and neck right now. It's with no separation between. It's just basically who can break through their wall the quickest to get out as quick as possible. At this point, it is a race around the track, unfortunately, not just getting through the pack. Right now.
And normally these 2-minute jams are quite exhausting, but that 2-minute jam got about 45 seconds cut off with all the confusion. So they haven't had to skate the full time.
Still, at this point of the game, 2-minute jam is a 2-minute jam. Everyone is tired.
Kenobi knocked to the outside. Jammerhead Shark looking to get one final scoring pass as time comes out. Pushes a bit too far. Picks up a track cut.
It looks like there's a track cut coming to the Divas at the end of that jam.
So a little touch to the inside as Jammerhead Shark tried to get through. Yep. We're going to get ourselves an official timeout.
It looks like they're going to come out to challenge that penalty at the end. Now, that's completely understandable. At this point, if you get your jammer out, you start even. You don't want to give up a power start at this point, but we'll see what happens with this official review.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen all day long that, I mean, in a regular game, a power jam is important. It's a great option to have the only jammer on the track, the only person who can score points. In a 60-minute game, 30 seconds is not that long, but it's a great advantage. In a 20-minute game, 30 seconds is basically the equivalent of 3 times the value as it is in a 60-minute game.
There's only so much time that you have to play.
Yeah, so I mean, you do not want to give up power jams, especially with, well, look at that, they finally fixed the score. Hello.
I think with the scorekeep, the jam refs going over to the scoreboard, it looks like they're going to try to fix this situation right now.
Probably a good idea before any more time ticks off the clock. There is still 15 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the game. Again, this is a 20-minute matchup, just like all the games today have been. Quick little sprints that somehow become incredibly exhausting in the last 5 minutes because when you only have 20 minutes to play, you give your absolute all in each and every jam that you're out there. There is no rest for the wicked.
Very, very true. As we're set to get back to the action here, it seems the score is the Rebel Rollers 15, Divas at 13 with 15:30 left to play in the first within the game. So.
Dynan Dash Tash, the skater you mentioned earlier on in the game, Ross, is taking the star for the Rebel Rollers. It is a power jam with Jammerhead Shark still in the penalty box. And the captain, Dynan Dash, being knocked to the outside by Juggernaut J. Captain on captain action going on in the back. Oh, and a forearm penalty.
It was when she was going to the outside of the track. She used her forearm to try to push herself back onto the track, and the referee deemed that to be a foul. We're going to get a little bit of a jammer bounce coming out of here on this one. Power jam advantage flips over to the other side.
And lead jammer being assigned to Jammerhead Shark. So that means she'll have control of when this jam ends. And Dynan Dash Tash should be coming out of the penalty box momentarily. She just stands, so less than 10 seconds left in her penalty as Jammerhead Shark comes around, is looking to put points on the board, looking for a lead change, fighting her way through that back. Tough defense as Whiskey Sour, wearing the pivot stripe, is backstopping this defense. Jammerhead Shark
just gave up at that point. It seemed impenetrable at that point. Now, one of the things I've really noticed with this tournament is the defenses have been very dynamic. For what this level, this is supposed to be a fresh meat tournament. People that only have a year experience, but here you're seeing dynamic four walls. You're seeing recycling coming around. What do you think about the trading that both these leagues and leagues throughout this tournament has had?
Yeah, I think the learning curve has just, they've zipped up the learning curve so much faster now than they did 4 or 5 years ago, that you're seeing skaters with limited experience being so much better than skaters in the past were. Jamming away, both jammers getting out at virtually the same time. It's Amazon versus Holly Rocket. Holly Rocket thought she had lead jammer, picks up a track cut. It's turned into a power jam for Amazon, Ross.
Amazon has been taking control of these situations throughout this tournament. She's taken at least 3 passes on average for each one of these power jams she's had. Let's see what she can do on this one.
5 points on that pass as the power jam continues. Rebel Rollers able to extend their lead. Yeah, you know what? Able to retake the lead. That's right. The Divas had changed the lead in the last jam. They had a 1 point advantage, now down by 4. And Amazon coming around, another scoring pass. Juggernaut J getting elbowed. Oh, yeah.
Epic Phil.
Epic Phil calls a track cut. It was either going to be that or a high block, as she made contact with Juggernaut J's head as well as she was coming through the front. So a little jammer do-si-do. No, Holly Rocket is out of the box already. This will be a full 30 seconds and another full 2-minute jam, Ross.
Yep, we got 44 seconds left in this for her to work. Let's see what she can do with this particular setup right now. We've got 4-on-4 blockers. She'll have to go through every single one of them.
Initial pass complete. This is a scoring pass. Divas down by 4. Probably points in the bucket for Amazon before she went to the penalty box. Mass genocide. Trying to get a piece, getting knocked to the ground. She's going to get a low block and head to the penalty box herself. And there is 5 points. Divas take the lead until we have a score update from Amazon. Amazon's penalty is over, so she will try to complete her scoring pass as Holly Rocket is trying to do one more before time runs out. 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. Time runs out on the jam. 5 more points for Holly Rocket. Nice push to get through those final points, and 4 for the Rebel Rollers. Divas take the lead.
After all the scores been updated, it's Divas 26, Rebel Rollers 24 with 11:30 left on the clock here.
So yes, what was a 1 point lead by the Divas turns into a 2 point lead by the Divas after that power jam swap out during that 2-minute jam.
Now the Rebel Rollers have started to take the pivot line. We've seen this a couple times throughout this tournament from this team.
Yeah, I think they feel a little safer up there, especially when they have lesser numbers. You can't get those little pick plays as easily. And guard picking up lead jammer for the Divas. And that is Whiskey Sour getting through. I have to believe that Whiskey Sour has some sort of hockey skating background. She really has that stride of a former hockey player. Lots of potential there to build on for the South Simcoe Rebel Rollers. Little slow on the call off. 1 point for the Divas and two for Whiskey Sour.
She just stole 2 there. They had a little trouble communicating and couldn't get it called off in time. Takes the advantage for the Divas down to 1 point.
And those are really demoralizing moments for a jammer when they work so hard to pick up that point. The hands get to the hips a bit too late, and the other team ends up getting more points than you, especially when the lead is so close. You do not want that to happen.
It's one of those things when you try your hardest to call off the jam. Unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't communicate.
And again, both jammers getting out at virtually the same time, but Ojibwan Kenobi heading to the penalty box for a forearm. That's going to allow number 14, Jammerhead Shark, free range on the track. Amazon this time wearing the pivot stripe, putting a big hit on Jammerhead. Not knocking her out. That job is done by Dine and Dash Tash, Las Vegas. Good thing you named her name at the beginning of this game because she's making you look like a genius.
Well, she's been one of those notables throughout the entire tournament, so it would be poor of me not to mention her at this point. Unfortunately, she just went to the penalty box.
That does happen. The strong blockers have a tendency to pick up penalties, but that's because they're doing so much. Jammerhead Shark really trying to take that outside line. Finally gets past the blockers of South Simcoe and picks up 5 points. The power jam is over. Kimikaze doing a nice job of pushing Ojibwan Kenobi out of bounds, but picks up a forearm for her efforts. Kenobi having to reset. She's going to get through now on her initial pass. And Jammerhead Shark getting cycled back by Amazon.
It looks like she's trying to call. It's the Rebel Rollers have putting a stellar job on defense right now. They've had given up they've had a couple of strong power kills right now, but they've limited it to 1 or 2 passes in these ones. If they keep that trend, they might have a good shot here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, to only give up 8 points, especially this is a freshman team, a rookie team. Skaters have only played for a year. To have enough awareness in the pack, ability to shut down a jammer on a power jam and only yield 8 points, that's fantastic.
It's impressive all the way around.
Another jam underway. We've got Holly Rocket in the back. Trying to get an outside line. She's going to get out first. And she does. Lead jammer going to the Divas.
Holly Rocket has been consistent every jam that she's been out there.
And making her way around the track, that is Mass Genocide for South Simcoe. The hands get to the hips. She looked like she was getting a little frustrated. She did pick up 3 points. Again, one of those things that the jammers will learn as they go along is that if you are in the middle of a pack and you're just making tiny little motions to your hips, really hard for your jammer ref to see. Good thing to make eye contact with them. Make sure that you have a bit of a wider motion so that you can actually help your jam ref out.
Even scream directly at them that you're trying to call it. A lot of the times with it, it's the hand motion. You can't see it through 8 bodies, unfortunately, on the track. So, but here we and that's
Amazon with a nice little jammer pop off the line, but picked up a direction of gameplay, Ross.
You don't see that one too often off the jammer line. Usually they're exactly in line with each other. That's a tough one to take.
Angard is the jammer of record for the Divas and now the lead jammer for this jam. Divas looking to pull away with only 7 minutes remaining in this 20-minute bout. This could be crucial for the Divas in taking home the 3rd place trophy.
This is going to be a decisive defensive stand here for the Rebel Rollers. Let's see if they can pull it out.
Got 5 points on that pass. They've got an empty blocker side box, so they do have all 4 blockers on the box or on the track. Or no, do they have one? No, they have one in the box. They only have 3 out there. That makes it more difficult. Amazon through the pack. Jam is called off by Angarda. She was cycled to the outside, so yes, good, strong defensive stand by South Simcoe once again.
Once again, keeping it to 2 passes. It's keeping them in this game, keeping it within reach.
You know, with 6:20 left in the game, 18 points separating these teams. Still lots of opportunity for South Simcoe to come back. Whiskey Sour taking the star for the ladies from Barrie, Ontario. That is Jammerhead Shark jamming for the Divas right here in Toronto. Jam underway, very slow to start. Jammerhead Shark playing a little jammer defense, but then gets knocked to the inside. That's going to let Whiskey Sour get lead jammer for South Simcoe.
She's got about a half track to work with as she goes through this pack. She's got to be mindful of how much time she takes to get through.
Yeah, and South Simcoe blockers got to be mindful that if they hang out at the back, they could give up some points. Whiskey Sour pushing hard. She's going to have to call it off because here comes Jammerhead Shark. Calls it off as she's being bumped to the inside. Picked up all 4 points, but did she give any up?
Oh, wait, hold on a second here.
Misconduct.
We have a penalty in an insubordination.
So is that going to be two? Is that, well, that's going to be 2 penalties.
That
a
could
full minute.
A full minute in the box for Jammerhead Shark, and I believe that would put her on 3 penalties at this point, not or 4.
I'm looking to see the board.
It's 4. The box is saying 4.
The box is saying 4.
With the insubordination, that might be her 4th penalty, and that could be her evening.
And with 5 minutes left in this game, Jammerhead Shark has been a pivotal jammer for the Divas in this game. And you're right, Ross. That was 4.
Yep.
That's a foul out. And the Divas are going to have to deal with that. They're going to put Holly Rocket into the penalty box. Wise choice on their part. Holly Rocket has done a great job. They will like to have her when she comes out of the penalty box. But, man, Divas are going to have to start rolling the dice.
If the only thing that's thankful, at least it was at the end of the jam. So if it happened in the middle, they would have lost their jammer for at least a minute and a half. In this case, it's just 1 minute. It's still a long time in there, though.
It is.
It's going to give Rebels a chance to pull back here in this game.
And only 16 points separate these teams. This is the moment of destiny for either one. Jam underway. Nobody willing to give an inch. Mass Genocide trying to get through. Big hit by Kimikaze. Mass Genocide shrugging those hits off. Looking to get some assistance from Betty Payne. Skaters crash to the floor. And Mass Genocide is going to get out and pick up lead jammer. It did take her almost 25 seconds to do so, though.
They're gonna have a little bit more time to work with that full minute in the box with those 2 fouls. But let's see what we can do with this little bit here. They still have 4 blockers on the track.
I'm quite sure South Simcoe wants to get at least 2 scoring passes in. There's 1 for 5. That's going to bring them to 11 points. Still about 15 seconds left on the power jam. Looking for another scoring pass here. This will bring it down the lead to single digits. Divas trying to hold up. Oh.
It's going to be
out of play.
It's out of play. She initiated a block during a no-pack to a blocker, and unfortunately, that's going to be an out-of-play block.
And I think that's actually a pretty darn good call on the part of the jammer ref. It's one of those things that especially newer jammers would not know, that in the situation where blockers are out of play, you cannot initiate that hit. And she initiated the hit and knocked the blocker down. Impact made, penalty delivered.
Divas get a little breath of fresh air with that penalty.
Oh yeah, that's definitely some breathing room. This jam will go the full 2 minutes. And again, making a smart move, putting Holly Rocket out there. So they've got one of their top jammers after they just lost Jammerhead Shark to fouling out. Power jam is over. Mass Genocide is through for 5 points of her own. Lead is still 11. Divas are going to pick up 4 points, 5 points on this pass. And time runs out before Mass Genocide can get to the pack. And the Divas extend their lead to 16, which is actually, I guess, exactly what it was when the jam started, Ross.
Yeah, that was a lot of bouncing, a lot of chaos, a lot of penalties, all to keep the same separation between the teams.
Effectively 90 seconds of jammer penalties being served in that jam. No difference on the scoreboard, and under 3 minutes left. If the Rebel Rollers want to make their move, they've got to do it now. And Divas, they've got to clamp down on this defense and don't let the Rebel Rollers through. But look at that. There's Dine and Dash Tash getting through for lead jammer.
Once again, in a crucial situation, she delivers.
Captain of this squad, showing why, leading by example, and she's coming around a scoring pass. Nice move to the outside, accelerates through the pack and picks up 4 points. Will she call it or will she run it? They want her to call it. She does.
They're going to call it.
So 4 points. That'll bring it down to a 12-point lead. 2 minutes remaining in this game. We're getting down to last jam territory, Ross.
it's one of those situations where the coaching strategy comes into play. When to call a timeout, when to use an official review. These are the questions that people ask after the game. Let's see what's going to happen right now.
And even though it is the skaters that are considered fresh meat, often the bench staff are fairly fresh as well. And so they may not understand the whole time management techniques. The timeouts can extend the game when you are behind. You can get extra jams in if you call those timeouts in a timely manner. Nice acceleration on the outside. Kenobi picks up lead jammer just as Holly Rocket comes through on the inside. Not lead jammer. Holly Rocket wants to call off, but she's not lead. Kenobi's going to take a run at this.
It looked like a little jammer action there, but instead they're going to run it through. They're going to take the run through the pack. It's a little bit of a gamble, but let's see if it works out.
And Ojibwan Kenobi is going to get through and pick up 4 points for the Rebel Rollers. Time is ticking down in this game. Skaters heading to the penalty box is Misdemeanor Queener and Betty Payne from the Divas and the Rebel Rollers head to the box. 4 points for Holly Rocket, sorry. 4 more points for Ojibwan Kenobi. Trading points back and forth. I'm not sure this is the strategy that South Simcoe needs right now.
Oh, at this point, it's just they're both getting the same amount. 4 points here, 4 points there. It's as long as they call it off before the time runs out, they can call a timeout and get another jam out of this one.
Kenobi looking for that outside line. She's going to accelerate through the pack. Gets away from number M18 Kamikaze.
She's getting the call from her bench to call it. I don't know if she sees it yet, but there it is.
She does. Will a timeout be called? That is key. Yes, there is almost no time left in this game. If they do not call a timeout, this game will be over. And I am not seeing any signals from the bench that they're going to. And that is a bench coaching error, in my opinion, as there could have been another jam.
Yeah, you have the timeouts for a reason. That's the time to use it.
But again, good performance by the Rebel Rollers. They were within striking distance. They had to lead for a bunch of this game. We're in striking distance for the last half of the game. Really nice performance for the skaters from Barrie, Ontario. I think the senior members of their league have to be pretty pleased with the way their rookies played today.
Yep.
And I think you will see a lot from some of these skaters in the future.
And the truth is with it, when you're South Simcoe, you're fresh meat, you're going up against a larger league such as Tord and their fresh meat, you have to take a certain amount of pride to being competitive within this game.
And the Divas, I know the Divas really wanted to compete for the championship this year. They were beaten rather badly by Capital City Derby Dames Cannondalls. This will be a measure of satisfaction at the end of the weekend. I know they wanted first or second place, but to come away with third in this was a very tough field of teams this year. It reminded me a bit of the Beast of the East tournament where you really didn't know which team was going to win.
No, it was very evenly matched throughout the entire thing. It's just the luck of the draw sometimes gave you whether you had a little bit of rest or a little bit more back-to-back play. At this point, like even the Lunch Ladies had almost 3 games in a row back-to-back, and they did really well for their fresh meat team.
That's right. So with that, the third place team is the Divas from Toronto Roller Derby. They have defeated South Simcoe Rebel Rollers. We're going to be back momentarily with the championship game. It's Les Bouches from Quebec, various leagues in Quebec, and they'll be facing off against the Capital City Derby Dames Cannondalls, who have been my real surprise for the weekend. I don't know why I discounted them coming in, but that team has been fantastic this weekend.
They have proved their spot right here, right now, and we'll get to see it upcoming next.
I'm Captain Lou Obama.
I'm Ross Vegas.
See you soon.
Not long, one, I don't think.
me to do the boost?
Sure. Everybody butchered the name today.
Well, I'm going to butcher the mini.
And I told you we weren't going to be away very long. Captain Lou Obama back on the mic. I've got the Derby Nerd with me this time.
I'm back.
We're going to call the championship game of Fresh and the Furious 2014. We have one team that I expected to be here, Les Bouches from Quebec, various leagues in Quebec. And we have one team I did not expect, but after seeing them play their first couple games, I am not surprised in the least that they are here. I think this is going to be a fantastic game between the Cannondals of Capital City in Ottawa and Les Bouches from various leagues in Quebec.
And don't forget Cornwall, too. They have a few Cornwall skaters this year.
I keep forgetting Cornwall. It's
Yes.
like Quebec, only in Ontario.
Exactly. But closer to those leagues than they probably are to any of these leagues
Yes.
here in Ontario. This is the second straight season that Les Bouches has made it to the final. And really, Smash Squad, as I mentioned earlier, a few years ago, also had skaters from outside of Montreal on that team when they played at the Fresh and Furious tournament. And that was the Too Fresh, Too Furious.
That's right. It's hard to keep track of them all. I'm glad they've just gone to the Fresh and the Furious and a date.
Yes.
It's so much easier than following the movies as they track along.
Although there are like 6 or 7 of those movies, they could have kept
The
going.
7th one is coming out. That is correct. Yeah, Les Bouches. So basically, Quebec is looking to have a three-peat today.
And they've looked impressive so far. You mentioned that the
Yes.
Cannondals really turned some heads from the start, but so have Les Bouches. Both teams scored 100 points in their opening games in victories, 118-33. The Cannondals crushed the Belleville Bombshells. But good to see Belleville here with the team. This is the first year they've taken part in this tournament. And Les Bouches had a high-scoring affair with the Neophytes, another mixed league team from northeastern Ontario. 150-105 was the final. The only game so far where both teams have scored over 100 points. Oh, no, that's not true. The Thickets and the Neophytes.
Thickets and Neophytes also, yes.
Neophytes. High-scoring team in this
Yeah, they
tournament.
are.
This is the 4th championship under the Fresh and Furious moniker, the 5th if you count the Virgin Suicides Brawl.
Which was
into
way
that.
back.
Way back, 2009? Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
2001 by the Death Row Dames, now defunct team from the Hammer City RollerGirls.
Yep.
They defeated the, was it the Thames Fatale in the final?
I think did they beat the Thames in the semis and they beat someone else in the finals?
I think they beat the Slaughter Daughters in the semis, which was actually a much closer game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why if you talk to some of the Thames, they'll say they probably shouldn't have gotten second place because of Slaughter Daughter. It's one of those things that happens in the bracket that sometimes the second place team might end up in third. But
either way, a lot
either
of
way.
really good roller derby players in that tournament.
Yes.
And that's continued with the Fresh and Furious. We've seen skaters over the years. We're now seeing skaters from 4 years ago, the first Fresh and Furious tournament, playing now on charter teams. I mentioned Ames to Kill playing tonight for Toronto's CN Power in Baltimore as we speak. So we've seen how this tournament can develop the skaters of the future for these leagues.
Yeah, and there are definitely some skaters from Montreal roller derby on Les Bouches that I suspect we will see move up over the next couple of years towards the new skids. And Capital City is an apprentice league now in the WFTDA, and I have to tell you, there are some skaters on this rookie team that I wish I had on my travel team for Royal City. They have really impressed me. The jammer rotation from the Cannondals of LaBrosse, of Kamikaze, and of Kaiokenzi have just been dynamic to watch all day. They've been unstoppable, all three of them unstoppable. And if there is a team that can stop them, though,
it could be
the team in yellow.
Les Bouches. And they've had a trio of their own who've been dominating with a really, really strong jammer rotation of La Grande Noisseur from Montreal, and also Camionnette, who's somewhat of a triple threat from Montreal as well. And then the third jammer in the rotation, Rapidas from Rimouski RollerGirls. So that's a pretty big threesome as well, and they've put up a lot of points in this tournament so far, including all 3 games. They've scored 100 points offensively so far, or they have scored 300-point games out of their 4.
So this will be the 5th game for both of these teams, I believe. And this game is going to be a 20-minute game with no halftime. It originally was going to be 2 15-minute. It was originally going to be 2 15 minutes, but it is now going to be a 20-minute game.
20-minute game, yeah. So we're just going to stick with the same model.
Yeah, this day has been stretched out as a result of some injuries to both referees, NSOs, and skaters. And we have a limited amount of time, as in 11 o'clock we all turn into pumpkins. So we're going to have a 20-minute game, an all-out sprint to the finish, like all the games today have been. Kind of fitting in the end. We like we like to have that even Steven 15-minute halves, 5 minutes in between, have everyone swap up. But there's not time for that, so that's going to be a straight-out sprint. See who can get to the finish line first.
That's right, and thank you for sticking with us all day through these long injury delays. I mean, they're the one kind of delay that you just can't avoid. And we are underway here, the championship of the 2014 Fresh and Furious Tournament, live at Ted Reeve Arena. Le Grand Noisseur is up front, pushing against a 3-wall at turn number 2, looking to take the first lead of this game, and she is through, and she does have it. Good start, Captain Lou.
Kyle Kenzie also getting out of the pack. Really strong defensive effort on the part of the Cannondalls. Edmonton, number 720, has just been rocking it all weekend long. She was standing nose to nose with Le Grand Noisseur, and it looks like Kyle Kenzie threw with an apex jump. 4 points for the Cannondalls.
Unbelievable. There's Edmonton with the big hit at the very end of that jam, right on the whistle. It's going to be legal.
Yep, number 780, just as the whistle was blown. 4 points, 4 points. And Les Bouches had a lot of the times this weekend, if they get lead, they run the full 2 minutes. But I think they realize that strategy is not going to work against the Cannondalls. They had Grand Noisseur call off the jam. Maybe if they get a better jammer matchup, they might try it again. But at the moment, not happening in that one.
No, they have not faced a jammer rotation quite as talented as this one. And no, LaBrosse right off the start knocks down Rapidas, showing that these jammers are going to be physical as well.
LaBrosse taking a quick outside line, zipping her way through the back and picking up lead jammer. She's followed also by Rapidas. We'll have to see how this jammer race goes.
And she does have about a 40-foot lead, and all of the points from Les Bouches are exposed at the back of the pack. LaBrosse hits hard, goes outside, goes inside, and then finds no way, has to go outside. Did she get any points?
She did. 2 points, so the lead goes to the Cannondalls on the second jam of the game. First jam was still a tie. So the first lead of the game takes till jam number 2.
And this has been a nice setup for Les Bouches so far, having Camionette out with the pivot stripe and Le Grand Noisseur jamming. It's been a nice setup for them.
Yes, they do work very well together. Strong blocking, strong jamming, and an option to pass the star if the star needs to be passed.
But Edmonton also out there pivoting once again for Capital City. She is going in back-to-back jams here. On the inside, another lead.
And a back block to Le Grand Noisseur is going to send her to the penalty box for 30 seconds. First power jam of the game. First mistake made by Les Bouches. And here comes Kamikaze. And Camionette picks her off in between turns 1 and 2. Knocks down Phantom Slim, the OPR. Camionette going to the penalty box for her efforts.
So this is a big opportunity here for Capital City now. A pack advantage and on this power jam. And Camionette, one of the top blockers in the penalty box as well.
A good defensive stand by the ladies from Quebec. But they've got to do it all over again as power jam continues.
Oh, Kamikaze making her way through. Did fall down. Decides to call it off as Le Grand Noisseur gets back on the track. Big pickup for the Cannondalls, who've taken an early lead. Really, I don't think the Bouches have been pressed very much at all.
No, there was one game earlier in the day, which was, well, it was actually the Neophytes. The Neophytes were actually very close to, we're actually leading, I believe, at one point. But that sort of fell apart in the end when penalties lost control. Pivot line taking some action once again. We've seen that a fair amount this weekend, Derby Nerd.
It's coming back into play. The pivot line getting a lot of love this weekend. Those two, Gonads, the last line of defense can't hold back Kyo Kenzie, but it's going to be a lead jammer for Rapidas and Les Bouches. With only 2 blockers on the track, pick up lead.
Kyo Kenzie not willing to just skate. She wants to make some contact again. Kyo Kenzie again is going to steal points has non-lead jammer. Rapidas does get through and pick up 4 points of her own, but that is matched by Kyle Kenzie.
She doesn't seem interested in calling this off at all, and the bench is giving her that signal to keep going. Oh, now telling her to call it off after the lap had been done. Cannondale is leading 20-8.
And I think,
Interesting play.
another thing that the Bush have not faced today is that their jammers are not the fastest jammers on the track.
Very
Their jammers are getting caught by the jammers of the Cannondales, the impressive jammer rotation of the Cannondales, and they are having to call off the jam rather than let the jams run.
Nice move by Le Grand Noissoir, noticing they had to pivot on the track, grabbed the panty herself and threw it off the helmet cover. Slight pack advantage here for Capital City. Scrappy start right off the jam line, the Mill Street jam line. Capital City, though, getting the LaBrosse is pinballing her way through as lead jammer. Takes a look back, though, right on her. About 20 feet back is Le Grand Noissoir.
I mean, for a rookie, LaBrosse getting really low coming through that pack, using her ability to absorb those hits, calls out the jam, no points on the air.
Really good skater.
No points in the air. But, I mean, Le Grand Noissoir, you can't say enough about her. She's fantastic. But LaBrosse, for me, was a complete unknown quantity until today.
This whole Cannondales team, for me, was a complete unknown quality. We haven't even heard much from their top-level team either this season. They've quietly been going about their business. They have had some games, but they haven't done a lot of traveling, really, and haven't had any really big matchups. They just seem to be slowly kind of building from the base up, which could be good for the future.
Another jam underway. It's Rapidas going to get through for lead jammer for Les Bouches. Oh, and Kamikaze having to avoid her own skater, Ice-Tina, who had gone down. That delays her a bit from getting out of the pack. Cami Annette forcing a track cut.
Nice block from Cami Annette. Cami Annette does enjoy that face-to-face turnaround blocking, and she was able to force a cut from Kamikaze. So power jam now for Les Bouches. Down by 12, 6 minutes in. Big opportunity here to get back in this one. 5 points already picked up. Second scoring pass now for Rapidas.
Pivotal defensive stand. Cami Annette able to open up that wall. But look at that. That's number 2.
That is Apple Sass with a nice hit.
She's
sassy hit.
And again, she might pick up something for that one. But
someone.
Yep. How to play block for Apple Sass.
Heading to the box. Working well with Ice-Tina, number 720. Good pivots on this Capital City team as well, not just the jammers, but Rapidas coming in. Looks like we're going to have a pass. Cami Annette picks up the star. Oh, she goes through the pack without it on, so no points picked up.
Not sure that was a wise move. There was only 2 blockers out there. She could have waited and put the star on and picked up those points.
And they could have taken the lead, but they did not, and now the jammer back on the track, so power jam over.
Lead likely to happen right here as Cami Annette runs. But Cami Annette knocked down to the inside, and she is slow to get up. The jammer's going to get called off. That is for injury. And Cami Annette.
She did fall hard on a skate, it looked like, right on her side.
She did pick up 4 points. That does give us a lead change for the skaters from Quebec. The jam being called off because of injury means that Cami Annette has to sit for 3 jams. Normally in the course of a game, 3 jams is not a lot, but in the course of a 20-minute game, 3 jams is plenty. And as she has pretty much been out every single jam of this game, as a pivotal player, hopefully she is going to be okay and able to get back into this game.
Yeah, she hasn't moved too much. Skaters have been directed off the track. There is the Capital City bench. We've had a few injuries today. We would like to report that everyone is okay out of the hospital. Well, we've seen both, Miss Universe from the Ganaraska Gravediggers actually got casted and came
she is back
at the venue.
She is back to watch the finals, and that is roller derby for you.
There's actually too many skaters on these sidelines today.
Yes, way too many skaters injured. Stop getting injured, skaters. We don't like it. They've taken off her helmet. I believe they're just checking out her head, seeing if she's okay. Yes, we have the World Cup of soccer finishing tomorrow, and I know a lot of roller derby girls have been watching that and wondering why players in soccer hit the ground so easily and roll around like they've been murdered, whereas in roller derby you have skaters breaking their ankles and desperately trying to pull themselves off the track so that the jam can continue to roll.
And looks like they're again, like they have with all the injuries today, they're really taking this, handling this carefully. A lot of roller derby action going on across Canada today and across the USA, across the world, really. If you haven't heard, Gotham, of course, defended their #1 spot today with a big win over the London RollerGirls in London.
That extends their streak of wins to 50 in sanctioned play.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Is the second longest streak still the Oli streak, which is something like 21 games?
I believe that's true, yes.
Less than half.
Less than half. There's been some action out at the Tobin Tussle. I know that Team Alberta defeated Team Ontario this morning.
Yep.
I don't know the results from this evening.
No, and also a B-level travel team tournament going on as well.
Right.
That same weekend.
I know there are some home games going on at Terminal City after they defeated Houston last night. They had home teams playing tonight. I believe it's Terminal City Championships tonight. And Hammer City hosting Ithaca.
That's right.
Ithaca League of Women Rollers.
Yeah.
Who will face off against Tri-City tomorrow morning in a hangover bout.
That's a big game tonight, too. They're both fairly evenly matched in the 80s and Division 2.
So, yes, lots of roller derby action and lots of roller derby action here at the Ted Reeve Arena at Fresh and Furious 2014 edition. This is game number 28. Game number 28, the final game. And again, we have, because of these injuries we've had all day, this tournament has stretched out a bit longer than it's usually intended to.
This game was scheduled for a 9 o'clock finish, but again, as we said, all the delays have all been injury-based, so they're not delays that could be avoided in any possible way whatsoever. This is, we've already had three actually very lengthy injury delays.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody wants to use an injury to slow up a game. No one wants to get hurt out there. It's just the happenstance of roller derby that with a lot of physical contact comes injuries.
Yep, of any sport. We had a close game going to 22-20. Seeing the referees there at the center of the track conferring. It's been the last 3 seasons. This is the fourth straight tournament I've been here, and all 3 tournaments previous to this have all run so smoothly. Very minimal injuries. I mean, some minor injuries. I don't think the ambulance has ever been called. It's already been called here 3 times today.
And, you know, Ross Vegas and I were talking about that in the game previous to this, in the 3-4 game, and the supposition put forth is that, you know, the fresh meat are advancing so quickly now and showing such a skill level that the games that are played at this rookie tournament are much higher level than they were over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And as a result, because they're playing that much closer to the edge, the injuries are happening.
Yeah, maybe not quite there where they want to be yet, or where they think they should be, and just playing hard derby. Camionette definitely is an example of that. She's been
for sure
playing hard all week. She's been playing all weekend. She's been playing a lot of roller derby today, often double shifted.
Yep.
And she's been a huge competitor for this team.
Yeah, she's been a warrior out there. I mean, she's the captain of Les Bouches. She's done a yeoman's work all weekend long. I know they do not want to lose her from this game. I know that she would not want to leave this game if she does not have to, but they're still checking her out. Safety is paramount, as always. So again, Les Bouches, starting off today, defeat the Neophytes, move on and face the Renegade Derby Dames fresh meat team, defeat them as well.
And they weren't massive defeats. They're both about 40 so points, but especially that Renegade Derby Dames game, I never felt like they were threatened with the victory. They always seemed to have a slight lead, and that lead was never quite threatened.
Yep. Then went on to the quarterfinals after winning their first 2 to face Olop, Our Ladies of Pain from Royal City. Quite handily defeated them, though Our Ladies of Pain hung in with them for about 7-8 minutes of that game. Made it interesting until penalties sort of wore them down, and Les Bouches put a lot of points up, and then went to the semifinals, where they defeated South Simcoe
And that also was a tight game. It was 56-52 at the 10-minute mark of that one.
That's right.
With a very slight lead.
And then it blew open a bit at the end.
And the Cannondals have had a big day as well. They also won 2 straight in the elimination round to go right through that 118-33 game against the Belleville Bombshells to start things off. And then they faced Orangeville's Fox Force 5 and beat them 63-38, which was a kind of a tense game. And that shot them right through to the quarterfinals, where they faced off against the Thicket from Forest City, and put up what at that point was the biggest defensive match of the day, a 59-15 victory. But that, of course, was bettered by themselves in the very next game when they held the Divas to 7 points in a 119-7 semifinal victory. Impressive.
Yeah, Cannondals continuing to get stronger as the day went by. Competing very well against Les Bouches. The Power Jam obviously hindering their ability to put points on the board. Their defensive efforts have been strong, but Camionette was able to get the lead for Les Bouches before the head injury. And she is now sitting up on the track.
That's a good sign.
It is a very good sign. But looks like she just had her bell rung. I believe she's going to be all right. It's a question of whether they want to move her off the track or not, or if they want to wait for more assistance.
This is kind of an as I mentioned earlier, an interesting Final Four with the Cannondals really turning a lot of heads with very impressive play to get here. But
Yes.
South Simcoe also very impressive. And this is the first time they've moved on to the Final Four of this tournament. The Divas and Les Bouches, they're kind of regulars here. Divas have finished in the top 4. This will be the 4th year in a row. Top 3, I think, 4th year in a row.
Yeah.
Top 3. And Les Bouches have 2 years in a row now in the final, and 3 years for a Montreal Quebec team. Oh, and Camionette is now standing and walking.
Yeah, her skates are off, so they're going to take her off to the side, make sure she's not concussed, make sure she's safe. But I do believe her game is done. That is a huge blow to Les Bouches. Their captain going out, one of their jammers and pivots, like you said, triple threat.
Yeah.
Not a skater you want to lose.
And
They'll soldier on, as they always do.
Yeah, let's see emotionally how they can handle that as well. That long break. It was a tight game. No one really has. Les Bouches just took the lead back from the Cannondals, 22-20.
We've got about 13 minutes left in this game. Time tight on the real time clock.
Yeah. Thank you again for sticking with us all day here at the Fresh and Furious. You've been troopers yourselves. Le Grand Noisseur is jamming for Les Bouches. And we are looking at the same picture you are. Oh, it's La Brosse.
Wow.
And she pops through. Oh, sorry, it's
Kyle
Kenzie. It's that side ponytail.
They have very similar styles and looks. So Edmonton unable to hold back Grand Noisseur with her hips. Kyle Kenzie is already around the track and through the pack, picking up 4 points for the Cannondals, and that's another lead change, nerd.
It is, and here comes La Brosse. Oh, now I've got it the side ponytails on the right shoulder for La Brosse. That's how you can tell the difference.
Noted and remembered now.
Yes. And she's out there against Rapidas. Les Bouches taking the pivot line, forcing Capital City to come up with them. 3-3 in the pack. 2 points again is the lead. Being traded back and forth here between these two teams. 8 minutes in.
La Brosse getting really low last time getting through the pack and playing jammer defense to start with, trying to hold Rapidas back. And they're both going to get through at the same time. La Brosse clearing the hips first, getting lead jammer, Rapidas, and they're going to play jammer on jammer bumpsy-do as they go around 3 and 4. No one really getting advantage. Nebraska crashed the pack. She calls it off before she picks up any points. I believe we will check. It is true, 0-0.
Nothing changes. 2 points remains the lead. Le Grand Noisseur back out there against Kamikaze. I'm just guessing. I'm going to assume that they're going to stick with that 3-jammer rotation.
Yeah, it makes sense.
4-4 now. 5-on-5 roller derby.
So Les Bouches having good success in getting their jammers out since Camionette went down.
Yeah, let's see what they do with that rotation. They have jammed a few other skaters periodically throughout the day.
This time it's Grand Noisseur doing the jammer on jammer hitting at the beginning of the jam. That sets up Kamikaze into the 4 wall of yellow at the back, and Legrand Noisseur not wanting to let go. Sparkell trying to hold her back. She's not going to be successful. Lead jammer Legrand Noisseur also getting out is Kamikaze for the Cannondals. And Grand Noisseur looking to regain the lead for the ladies from Quebec.
She's going to have to be careful, though, because there are exposed points at the back of the pack. And Kamikaze is going to hit that pack, and she's going to pick up as Edmonton drags Le Grand Noisseur all the way back. 4 points picked up for Capital City.
And 4 points for Le Grand Noisseur, and they're going to run this jam a bit longer.
We're coming up to the 10-minute mark. Halfway through it, Cannondals with a brief lead. Nice outside-in move from Kamikaze. Easy 4 points. Grand Noisseur now also getting through and getting forward. 3-2 pack advantage suddenly for the Cannondals. That's Edmonton leading the way against Badland with the pivot stripe. For Les Bouches, the jam is called off.
Yeah, that Edmonton Sparkell combination is just nasty for the Cannondals. Grand Noisseur did pick up 4 points, so it was even Steven jam, 8 points aside in that. But time ticks down on the clock. We are down under 10 minutes. The halfway mark is complete in the championship game, and the Cannondals are still in the lead by 2.
The third of the Montreal skaters, Candela Arnac, is the pivot right now for Les Bouches. They're at the pivot line once again. Rapidas coming on the outside.
That's special sass or apple sass.
Apple sass.
And she holds her just long enough for Kaio Kenzie to get through for lead jammer.
Kaio Kenzie takes a look over her shoulder, sees Rapidas, and picks up the pace. A nice burst of steam. 4 points all exposed at the back of that pack. She breaks her way through the wall, calls it off. Did she in time? She did. But only 3 points picked up.
So not only is she fast, not only is she agile, but she's got the ability to turn herself sideways and use her shoulders to slice those walls apart. I mean, a rookie jammer. This is ridiculous.
And calls it off just in time.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic work on the part of the Cannondals. Grand Noisseur is going to take the star this time for Les Bouches.
Against Labrosse. I'm guessing again. I haven't seen her yet, but
looking to
it's
see
her turn. It's her turn on the rotation.
Contact on the whistle.
Grand Noisseur coming up against Edmonton now, going face-to-face. Nice work from the pivot from Capital City to force her outside. She does come back in and gets by Sparkell on the inside. Lead jammer for Les Bouches.
And Labrosse was held back just long enough. That'll get Grand Noisseur an opportunity to close the gap a little bit more. Penalties trouble for both sides. Only 2 blockers on the track. Sparkell trying to hold Grand Noisseur back. Not going to be successful. Or is she? Oh, look out. Labrosse on the outside picks up 4 points of her own.
Nice little apex jump there.
Wow.
Both jammers getting through. Sparkell getting a penalty now. More troubles for the Dolls. And Grand Noisseur looking to get some jammer on jammer action. Oh, ends up going down hard, getting a skate up into Labrosse's face. She kind of shakes it off and keeps going. And she's tough.
And she's, yes. And we've got virtually no blockers starting this jam as far as I can tell. Now, we're going to have 3 for Les Bouches, but I think we're going to have 1.
Yep. 1. I don't know if Capital City's aware of that. They do have 3 blockers in the penalty box. Let's see how long.
We'll have to see how this goes as the jam is about to start.
Applesass should be the only.
Finally gets out there. So Applesass can be the only blocker out there. And Rapidas is going to have fairly free reign, but she gets tangled up in that pack. That's going to let Kamikaze get through right behind her. So no real advantage with that 3-on-1 start for Les Bouches. Cannondals.
Nice work.
Shut it down.
Applesass. These both blockers and jammers having great tournaments for Capital City. So, wow. Rapidas, though, showing that they're still very much in this game. Powers her way through that inside line. Picks up a lot of points.
Millie Malise doing a great job as last line defense for Les Bouches. And that's going to allow Les Bouches to take the lead, I believe, with that 5-point pass. Just looking for the scoreboard to change. I could be totally wrong on that. This is going to be 4 points for Kamikaze.
The Cannondals still pacing ahead on this jam. They went in up by 5. It looks like they may be getting out of this up by 5 as well.
There's 4 points for Rapidas as she breaches the pack once again.
So this might be Les Bouches' strategy working against them because the Cannondals are just maintaining their lead here and killing a lot of clock.
Yeah, most of the teams were unable to match jam for jam against Les Bouches in this tournament so far. This may work out. There's still a lot of time left in this jam, Nerd. There's a lot of time left.
40 seconds. Rapidas gets pushed to the outside, way outside. Comes back in. There's a nope. Was a penalty called? Skater. Oh, Skater heading to the box in the wrong way. I think she's going to be sent back around.
She is. Sparkle also going. So now only 2 blockers left on the track. Now the strategy coming into effect for Les Bouches.
So it did work out in the end, perhaps, but Kamikaze almost through, gets knocked to the inside, comes on the track. A momentum
is a track
cut.
Those hurt so much.
She knew it. She didn't want to do it.
Applesauce is heading to the penalty box as well, so that's going to only leave number 27, Catherine Hipburn, on the track. And Les Bouches have taken the lead. The strategy working out in the end, Nerd.
Actually, I think it's going to be a tie game. 3 points coming on the board at the end of that jam tie.
50-50.
But you are right. The strategy did work out. They made up that 5 points. It just took them 2 minutes to score 5 points.
But they do have a power start, and they do have 2 blockers aside. 2 blockers on 4-on-2 blocker advantage. Can't get that much better.
No. Big opportunity here. Official timeout being called.
We have 4 minutes and 58 seconds left. And there you go. Les Bouches just picked up 5 more points.
There it is.
So they do have the lead. So great bench coaching from...
Yeah, so they did make up 10 points then on that jam.
Yeah.
5 points being added.
Canas Barbert, Edith Q, doing a great job on the bench all weekend, all day long. I like to say weekend because I'm used to Beats of the East where it's spread out.
Feels like it's been a weekend.
It is, I know. It's so many games. 28 games in one day. It's madness that this is even attempted year after year, and yet this is the 4th time through.
Yes, and we keep coming back every year.
Yeah, you know.
To broadcast it. We'd like to thank Mill Street for providing the beverages and for the sponsoring the jam line. This is the Mill Street jam line that you see Les Bouches crowding around.
It's a fine place to sponsor, really.
Yeah. Applesauce and Edmonton are going to be the lone 2 blockers. That's a pretty good duo.
That is a pretty good duo. For rookie blockers, I'd be a little concerned if I was any jammer out there. That jammer, of course, is Le Grand Noisseur, a jammer that I would be concerned if I was any blocker out there to try to block.
And all 4 of the Bouches blockers are going to let Le Grand Noisseur go at it alone. I don't know if that was the smartest team to do it against. I think we have.
We do not. It was out of play.
Oh, it was out of play, yes.
Yeah, out of play on Edmonton. That means Applesauce can be the only one out there, and she cannot get a piece of Le Grand Noisseur.
Badelaine heading to the penalty box as well. That will take away from some of Les Bouches' blocking advantage.
Sparkle is out of the penalty box.
Oh.
Applesauce going to the penalty box.
Bad timing on that one as the spot came open just as the jammer was coming around. Had to let her pass.
So barring mistakes, Les Bouches look to have regained the advantage. Oh, inverted blocking not working against Le Grand Noisseur. Absolutely running her over.
Such a tall skater, and she can kind of just bowl right over top of you. Power jam over, though. Kamikaze back on the track. Through on her initial pass. Le Grand Noisseur, though, has really helped build Les Bouches' lead. This is the biggest lead they've had, I believe, of this game. Now it's going to be 24 points when it's all said and done.
Yeah, nothing additional on that last one. So 24 points is the lead. So big jam for Les Bouches. Has time running out in this game.
Yeah, only under 4 minutes to go. Edmonton right back out on the track for Capital City wearing the pivot stripe. Oh, pivot is in the box, so she's going to have to throw it off.
Yeah, Applesauce is still in the penalty box. Penalty woes still plaguing the Cannondalls. That really is what Les Bouches have used to build this lead over the last, to regain the lead, or to build the tie and then regain the lead. But nice push to the outside, and that's going to be a track cut. That is going to be a track cut on Rapidas. She tapped to the outside after being hit by Edmonton, and she's being chased to the penalty box for a back block.
Kyle Kensie, the jammer, so both penalties negated.
We're going to go the full 2, Derby Nerd.
And I have to feel like this is going to play to Les Bouches' favor. This is kind of what they've been doing anyway in this game.
That's right.
So they may be happy to do this. But Kyle Kensie has been very successful so far as a jammer. She's having a hard time, though, at the back of the track. Badelaine holding her off on the outside. Finally, she's able to break her way through.
Yep.
Initial pass is complete. And Rapidas having a hard time. Now it gets hit by Edmonton, gets knocked out and dragged all the way back around turn number 4.
Wow.
Nice hit. Smart heads up play, and she's going to be caught on a cut.
That is a track cut. Double penalties for Rapidas. And wow, the Cannondals with a huge opportunity to get right back in this game with time ticking down, Derby Nerd.
Yeah, and it looked like she almost had a lane on the outside, but nice defense from Les Bouches on this power kill. They've done well so far in this game when they've been at a disadvantage. 5 points now picked up for Kyle Kenzie.
24 points was the gap at the beginning of this jam. 14 points is the gap as the jam continues. 35 seconds remaining as the power jam continues. Nice opening by Ice Tina.
And a nice little tap on the shoulder from the jammer indicating she wanted to go to the outside. Ice Tina opened it up. Kyle Kenzie shrugs off a hit, but then takes a big face-to-face hit from Ultrasonic.
But Ice Tina opening up the wall again. Rapidas is out of the penalty box, now able to score 2. Applesauce goes down. Rapidas goes down over top of her. 4 more points.
We are coming up.
Kenzie.
And that's going to be it for the end of the jam, or for this jam.
Any additional points? 2 more. Oh, Lordy.
74
to 71, I believe.
We're waiting for that to see if it's been added. Hasn't been added yet.
It is.
There it is.
3-point game with 1 minute remaining.
Wow. Under that danger zone. Could be the last jam of this game. Le Grand Noisseur out there jamming against La Brosse. Edmonton now going face-to-face against Grand Noisseur. Cannot hold her, though. Grand Noisseur is your lead jammer, but right on her tail. La Brosse also able to get through.
This is going to be interesting whether Le Grand Noisseur is going to be able to run this clock or not. All the blockers disappearing for Les Bouches. There's going to be no one to stop La Brosse. She comes through. She gets 4. 4 also for Le Grand Noisseur. Time running out. No, she's going to call it off. We will get one more jam, I believe.
Yep, we will get one more jam.
Timeout indicated from the bench. Delicate Plower, one of the skaters for the Dolly Rogers. The travel team for Capital City indicating she wanted that timeout. Thank goodness, because I am more than happy to have one more jam in this game.
And
with
this
2 points.
2 points separating. This will definitely be the final jam of the 2014. Well, maybe I shouldn't say definitely ever, but by all precedent says this will be the final jam of the 2014 Fresh and Furious tournament. It's been a long day. Both of these teams started playing many, many hours ago, and have fought right through here to the very, very last moments of this championship game. And you're hearing it now from the crowd here. Not a bad crowd for considering all of the delays and how long we've had to go.
Yeah, people have been here for 13 hours now. 13 hours in this venue. We're going to have a 3-on-2 pack start for Les Bouches.
And once again, it's going to be Applesauce and Edmonton, but official timeout being called. But Applesauce and Edmonton are going to be those two.
Edmonton, I'm amazed by the skills Edmonton has as a blocker. I mean, and you know, perhaps she's played somewhere else before. I don't know, but I know she hasn't. I have not seen her play with Capital City before, and she has been absolutely fantastic all day long.
Yep,
super impressed. Pivoting, just absolutely great awareness. Les Bouches has fantastic blockers too, but man, I have really fallen in love with the Cannondals.
Yeah, I think maybe the element of surprise is what's doing it, right? We expect always Les Bouches to come with a strong team.
Facing off his pivot is Le Grand Noisseur, who has jammed all game and now getting to block. Pretty fantastic blocker of her own.
Yeah. And Gonads holding that outside line has also had a very good tournament for Les Bouches as well. Rapidas getting knocked to the inside.
It is a track cut. It is a track cut on Rapidas.
It was a nice move. You mentioned that was Applesauce, I believe, that was the one who shot back and drew that cut, but it's going to be...
Time is out on the period clock.
And she is lead jammer.
Pass will finish this game. Kyle Kenzie gets it. 5 points on the board. They've got the lead. Delicate Plower says, call it off. She does. And on the final jam of the game, the Cannondals come through and take the championship, Derby Nerd.
Unbelievable. We just talking about how they were capturing our hearts all day. Well, they took it right through to the end. An upset in the final jam of the 2014 Fresh and Furious coming through with poise, able to knock that jammer out, had the wherewithal to shoot back in that track and draw that track cut brilliantly played.
Great teamwork,
Yeah. And talking about the level of play, how it's risen every year, and that's just a sign, that sort of sophisticated level of strategy you wouldn't have seen in past Fresh and Furious tournaments. So very impressive.
And you know, it would be very easy for the skaters from Quebec to be upset that they have just lost the championship. But when that jam was called off, all I could see was applause coming from the skaters in gold and from their bench staff, applauding the team that defeated them, because it was a well-deserved win by the Cannondals, and Les Bouches fought tooth and nail all game long. And you have to be able to respect the team that defeats you is a great thing to see from a rookie team as well.
Yeah, for sure. And they they had a lot of adversity, losing Camionette, their captain
That's
and on-track leader,
triple
threat for them. So losing her, but then also being able to just recover from the emotion of that long break, the 10-minute timeout, while she was helped off the track. So, yeah, impressive for them as well.
Yeah, the future of roller derby in Canada is very strong. And from the States, we saw some great skaters from Queen City and Rock City playing on the Queen's Court. But, man, there has been some great first year roller derby that I can't imagine what they're going to look like 2-3 years from now.
And not always from the traditional leagues. Like we said, South Simcoe having a massive tournament. The Roller Rebels, this team, the Cannondals we've talked about. Some of the other teams, Orangeville, for the second year in a row, I believe, making it to the quarterfinals.
Yep.
I might have to look that up. But still, another year where they've had a strong showing. Ganaraska, the Gravediggers, maybe another breakout team for this tournament. Made it all the way to the Final 8. And nice to see Forest City back with the Thickets, who looked strong as well.
They did look very strong. So I will look forward to seeing these skaters skate in the future on travel teams, home teams, wherever I get to see them.
Yep.
There are some great. I have some new people that I like to watch.
Yeah, for sure. There's Jax Lotopis, center of the stage, the head announcer for this tournament. I think she's about to she's giving the trophy, and there's the third place awards for Toronto's Divas. The Deadly Viper Assassination Squad, the farm team from the Divas. Juggernaut J, the captain, being hoisted up. Another strong performance, as we mentioned. This is the fourth Fresh and Furious tournament under this moniker, and this is the fourth year in a row that the Divas have finished in the top 3. They finished second, runner-up in the Fresh and Furious. They finished third in 2 Fresh, 2 Furious. And they were runners-up last year in Fresh and Furious GTA Drift. And now third place here once again. And saluting that, they were saluting the Cannondals team that beat them so soundly in the semifinals.
Beat them senseless, and that was a brutal beatdown for a semifinal game. I'm sure the Divas were happy to come back and win that 3-4 game.
Yes.
To salvage some victory out of that loss.
Yeah, opportunity for Toronto just to see, where can we improve? I think they're used to maybe losing a little bit to Ottawa teams, but not losing to capital city teams maybe at all. That was somewhat of a surprise. So, big congratulations again to Capital City and to the Divas for this third place finish. And that is that they've got Holly Rocket. And I'm not sure if she is the MVP.
I think Holly Rock. I don't know. She got the Luisa Camareras Award for the Heart player earlier today.
And there it is.
Luisa was a skater who died earlier this year from an asthma attack. A skater at GTAR who runs the Fresh Meat group, who ran the Fresh Meat group on Facebook, and is still run in her memory. And she did great things for roller derby when she was here, and her memory lives on at the Fresh and Furious tournament.
And congratulations to Holly Rocket. That's quite an award. I'm sure she will, remember that for a long time. And here's your second place team, Les Bouches.
Second place for Les Bouches, the team from Quebec, made up of skaters and Ontario, Cornwall, Montreal, Rimouski, Trois-Rivières.
Yep. And kind of an even mix.
Yep.
of skaters from those leagues. Just 2 skaters from Trois Rivières, but nice to see. It's taken a while, a little bit, for leagues in Quebec to start to get going, but the leagues they do have in Quebec are very good. Yeah, Roller Derby Quebec is an excellent organization. Of course, Montreal Roller Derby doesn't need anyone pumping their tires.
They're a strong team. We expect to see them in the Division 1 playoff, which we'll find out in just 3 days, I believe, where they'll be playing. They'll be pushing hard. I know Smack Daddy and Little Mama are looking at possibly retiring at the end of the season. Well, Smack Daddy has come out and said it straight out that she is done at the end of the season. So I expect big things from her during the playoffs, Smack.
She's just starting a family, of course, so leaving the sport, but one of the first faces maybe of Canadian roller derby when we look back upon it all. And here they are, the champions of the 2014 Fresh and Furious tournament, the Capital City Derby Dolls.
For me, they came out of nowhere, but I feel like a fool because they were massively destructive and able to put points up by the pant load. I really enjoyed watching the Cannon Dolls today.
And they did live up to that name, blew apart the opposition. So impressive. Breakout moments for so many skaters on this team, and I think that they're going to be faces that we're going to see for a long time to come in Eastern Canadian Roller Derby.
And normally in a fresh meat tournament, you say they have so much potential, but man, they're skaters that are already there.
They were playing some high-level derby. And Capital City, their first top 3 finish. Kyle Kenzie going up first. No one following her. And there's the trophy, the Fresh and Furious trophy.
So undefeated all day.
Yeah, I think, that's right. We have had champions lose early in the tournament and come back and win. I think it happens a little more often in the Beast of the East maybe than we see at the Fresh and Furious, but it has happened here. Timmins, the first year, Gold Miners' Daughters, did it. There they are.
They seem to be rather excited about having won this tournament. I don't know why that would be.
No.
5 games they managed to get through, I believe.
Yeah, unbelievable. For those fans of Eastern Canadian Derby, you know the Beast of the East. Well, we do that in 1 day for this tournament.
That's right.
And again, with all those injury timeouts, it's extended it even further. And we thank you for sticking with us and watching all day.
For
your
surviving this event with us.
Trying to do multiple track streams while we have massive delays. Trying to organize voices and NSOs and ref crews, and it's been an interesting day, but again, we've managed to fight our way through it and get here to this trophy ceremony.
So I guess the next big Canadian event will be the Maple Stirrup in August, and then we go straight into the playoffs after that, the WFTA playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, Maple Stirrup will be an interesting opportunity for. Oh, and there's the check.
Kyle Kenzie picking up the monster muffin check.
And that is the winning team gets $500.
$500.
And anyone who plays roller derby knows how much that will help toward buying maybe a new set of jerseys or shorts, whatever you want for Monster Muffin. So congratulations again.
And big thanks to Monster Muffin for being the sponsor of the championship prize at Fresh and the Furious 2014. I don't know, Derby Nerd. I think we're...
Yeah, and here they are about to get the trophy. And there it is.
There was some celebrations in town and in Ottawa as Capital City reigns supreme on Saturday in Toronto.
We'd like to thank everyone for all their work today. Thanks, of course, to Layer 9 for bringing you this live stream all day. Once again, throwing it all together and holding it all together and delivering high-quality roller derby for you. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Mill Street, Zach's Brews Cream, of course, Monster Muffin we just talked about, and St. John's Ambulance, who worked extra hard today.
They will have stories to tell.
Yes. That year I worked at the roller derby tournament, and the ambulance came 3 times.
I should thank Jax for organizing the announcers, Jules and Regulations, and Sparkles for organizing the NSOs and the officials, the referees for this tournament. And
we'd like to thank you again for your patience and sticking with us all day.
And GTAR. We should thank GTAR because they host this tournament. They put a lot of work into it. And we wouldn't be here if they weren't hosting it. So thanks, GTAR, for having Fresh and the Furious once again. Hopefully we'll have it in 2015. And Nerd, hopefully we'll be back here to call the action one more time.
We will. Thanks again to everyone. From the Derby Nerd,
I'm Captain Lou Obama. Go have a nap.
And thank you for watching the Fresh and Furious 2014.